Welcome in, everyone, to another, I guess we can call it weekly recap. I learned today that the YouTube SEO doesn't like that term. So it's what it is. It's, I called it week 4 fantasy football. You can call it what you want, but we're here. What's up, guys?
Hey, I'm excited, man. Even though my Commanders got whooped, excited to talk about week 3.
Yeah, they got blasted, bro.
Well, to be fair, it was a little bit of a game until like 13 minutes left. It was still a 2-score game till 13 minutes, and then the floodgates open. And they had 2 drives in the first half where they should have gotten points and they didn't. So it wasn't that bad, but the final score, if you didn't watch the game, makes it look like it was a total blowout. But it got ugly in the fourth quarter. Yeah.
If you have to say it was a 2-score game before it got bad, then it was.
That's true. That's true.
It was only a 2-score game, But this week was weird. I mean, a lot of teams came back and made it really close in the end. So what you're saying is correct. They had a shot until they didn't. Absolutely didn't. But it was a fun week.
It feels so weird doing the show without Patrick. I don't.
It's probably been a while, huh?
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm.
He's a sturdy presence,
Yes, I'm definitely a little out of sorts because I'm so used to having Patrick. But the show goes on.
Everyone's just tuning in for the 3 pretty faces that they see on the screen now. That's all. So it's all right. We'll have good viewership.
I mean, yeah.
Not that Patrick isn't a pretty face. I'm not saying that, but
no, beautiful.
Face. No, that's exactly what you said. But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, we'll let him know. It's about us.
We'll let him know that you said that. We have the receipts. Everyone heard it. Everyone heard what you said. I'm kidding. I don't care. I mean, you saw me on X this week. Someone got on my case because I didn't get it right between Pierre Strong, Tony Jones, and Samaje Perine. I just couldn't pick the right one there.
There was an obvious answer.
I know.
The best part is after you blocked him, he came in and he said that you cost him 4.8 fantasy points. Like it was this tragedy. Like you told him to bench Achane or something like that,
Yeah.
Or Achane now. Achane.
I don't give we know that I don't care. I don't care. Like, no, I really don't care. Like, if you're in the YouTube chat, I care. If you sign up for my Patreon, I care.
Yeah.
If you're just interacting with me on X, I don't care. I really don't care about. I can say I do, but I'd be lying. Like I don't care about.
I think you
if your fantasy team
to the extent you think you were right. You gave him the quality information you thought you were giving him, but like not everything's going to go perfectly. So
well, that's exactly true.
Yeah.
But also, I don't care in terms of like I don't answer every Twitter question. I obviously pick and choose. And you're gonna get some wrong, and I don't care. Like, I can just block you and move on to someone who's appreciative. I mean, most people are appreciative. I will say that most people on Twitter X are nice. So if you're not, you are not going to get a second question. Like most people are nice. It's not a high bar. Yeah, when I say most, maybe 75 to 80%. Are nice. That's still most.
That's most.
Most. Yes, most. Why should I bother with the people who are not nice? Why bother? I have other things to do. You're not paying me. You're not helping me on the YouTube algorithm. You're helping me get like 2 extra cents from Elon Musk. It's not really worth it. Speaking of my biggest fans, I want to thank Ed for getting some questions in the chat very early. The first question. Kincaid and a third for 2024 first. I think that's a little excessive.
Smash. Give me the first.
We do need to talk a little bit about Kincaid. His snap share has been going down. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Did you guys see that?
I did see that. I've been actually checking his game logs before going into this, before I victory lapped Sam LaPorta too much, but as being the tight end number 1 in the class. But I did see that.
Now, wait a minute. That's actually fake news. It's fake news because I was actually the first one to have Sam LaPorta tight end 1 because my time machine it allows me to go back in time and change it. So actually, I was the first one. I take full credit for that.
I was a big LaPorta guy. Still am. I love LaPorta. I think, you know what it is with the fantasy community? I think it's with Kincaid too. Like Pete and Jahmyr Gibbs is a good example. And I love Jahmyr Gibbs as well, but I do think he gets a little bit overrated. We love speed and flashiness. And I think there is if you don't know what, and I'm not saying it's anybody on this live stream right now. That was odd. I feel like there was a glitch in the Matrix.
That I've never seen. But go ahead.
I wish I could help explain it.
Yeah. Oh no. There we go.
No, but what I was going to say is if you don't historically have watched a lot of film, if you're not someone that's put in a lot of effort to learn what you're watching, you do default to watch. And again, nobody on here, but there are a lot of analysts out there on Twitter space that this is the case. You default to the speed and the flash, right? And I feel like that's where tight ends like Dalton Kincaid look a lot sexier in the draft process than someone like a Sam LaPorta does. And even going back to like Mark Andrews was the same case. But I would definitely in this instance, though, I mean, like 224 firsts, I would take 124 first for Kincaid, to be honest. So this is a definite for me on the 224.
I like Kincaid, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's who would you rather have in Dynasty, Pitts or Kincaid?
Because I don't think the situation in Atlanta is going to stay the situation in Atlanta, or Pitts will find his way out eventually. They're not going to sign him to big money if this is going to be the way they use him. I think you'll have to wait it out a year or two. But when Pitts gets out of this situation, I think Pitts is going to be a top 2 dynasty tight end. I think he's just an uber talented player.
Also, Kyle Pitts is almost exactly a year younger than Dalton Kincaid,
which is so crazy.
Which is crazy, but it's the reality. So that's not even a reason to lean towards Dalton Kincaid. I think people just overrate frustration a little. Like you can be frustrated, but you get to it's why age is important. I mean, when someone comes in at 24 versus 21, they have a lot less time. Like you come in at 21, you can waste 2 or 3 years and then still be a premium dynasty asset after that. Whereas if you come in at 24, you can't waste 2 or 3 years. It's why it's the sad story of Terry McLaurin. By the time the elite quarterback comes, and it's not coming anytime soon, by the way, it'll be way too late.
Brissett he's there,
No, Jacoby Brissett is just in the mold of guys he's had before. So, like,
I'm messing around. Obviously, he's not an elite quarterback. He probably would be an upgrade over Sam Howell for fantasy. I'm just saying. I hate that for fantasy. Maybe not for
I've heard a lot of people saying that.
I don't think so for fantasy. I think the team has to stop running the ball 10 times in a game when your running back averages 7 yards a carry and help your young guy out when your offensive line is a sieve. I think Sam Howell has shown good poise in the pocket for what he's dealt with, minus last game, 4 picks. I get it. But his 3 prior starts were all much better than what you're going to get out of Jacoby Brissett. So people like to overreact to what just happened in 1 week, and I get it, but I'm still not concerned.
But it's been really all season supporting the fantasy weapons, though, right? The 3 weeks now, just like supporting Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. That's kind of what I'm alluding to. I'm not trying to crap on Sam Howell. I mean, he hasn't looked great, obviously, but
it's more of they had 9 different receivers, because you got to look back to like last week, like, right, what did he do against the Broncos? What did Sam Howell do the prior week? He had a really solid game. He threw for 299 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 9 different targets get 2 or 2+ receptions. I've never seen that as a commander. That's never happened in the franchise's history. So I don't think it's a function of him being the talent at the quarterback. I think it's a function of the offense is going to spread the ball around, just the way like they did with Bieniemy when Tyreek Hill wasn't there. And they had Travis Kelce's was a little bit different, but they don't have that premium weapon. So
Logan Thomas.
Yeah, he's concussed.
Hey, well,
so
back.
Patrick, you're here.
Patrick.
We were very sad.
what can I say? I make miracles happen. I make blind people see the light of Tyler's wisdom. And I make people walk on water.
Wow.
All the way up river.
You turn that water into wine while you're at it, I guess.
Yeah. I can definitely walk on water.
Frozen ice. I live in
If
Michigan,
there's
so
one of the
four
of us that can, I think it's Tyler.
I mean, I literally have an angel halo above my head. Can't you see it?
I can't do it because I'm fat. I'd break the ice.
I love that. I don't even know how to respond to that.
No one knows how to respond to it.
But I don't either.
Well, we're talking tight ends, right?
Yeah, they're heavy too. They probably break the ice.
Yeah.
As says, thanks to Tyler's Patreon's ranks, I got Musgrave.
Those are really good. I think that they're the best right there. The best Patreon ranks in the industry. The best. I think so.
I will say today seems to be Sam LaPorta Day on Twitter or X. No. And Tyler's one of the people that was ahead of the curve on that a little bit.
Yes.
And then Musgrave, you're ahead of the curve on.
Musgrave, I was farther ahead of the curve.
Yep. But
not that I had Musgrave higher. I had LaPorta higher. Still have LaPorta a lot higher.
No,
but I was more higher, like compared to consensus on Musgrave than on LaPorta.
Mm-hmm. But you put people in a position where they were able to acquire both of them at a good spot.
Yeah, my patrons probably have a lot of Musgrave. LaPorta depends on the format because there were other players in that range that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
Could have had a lot of Achane instead, and that is working out now.
Mm-hmm.
So
not that you started him, but yeah.
But there were other players in that range depending on the format, like Marvin Mims was really high on, and that might not be bad, but I think you'd rather have Sam LaPorta. So no guarantee that you got him, but Musgrave, if you were one of my patrons, and followed my ranks, you should have had him in almost every draft.
Absolutely. So I see a bunch of trades in the chat from you. Looks like
they're from Griff, yeah.
From Griff. Haven't got a chance to read through them. But
them.
Just for clarity's sake, all of these trades are coming up our 12-team Superflex. Usually half tight end premium. Start 10 leagues.
Mm-hmm.
LaPorta, Rico Dowdle received Breece Hall in a 24-second.
Love LaPorta, but
yeah, I love LaPorta, but this is the Breece Hall side.
Yep. Yeah. Without the second, it's still the Breece Hall side.
Yeah.
Sent DK, McLaurin, Tyjae Spears received Pittman, Bigsby at 24 first, a mid to late first.
Yeah, that one I'll take this one is closer. I'll lean
no doubt.
Oh, I'll lean the Pittman side. I guess I am not that excited about it.
Yeah.
I'll lean that. I can tell you one thing. If I had the received side, I wouldn't trade it for the sent side. The only way I'd consider doing this trade is in the other direction. I'm not trading into Terry McLaurin at his value, period. I'm just not interested.
Well, let me ask you, do you like Metcalf better than Pittman?
No.
Not by as
like
much as I used to. I like Metcalf more, but not by as much as I used to. Pittman's one of the biggest risers of the season for me.
Do you like McLaurin better than Bigsby?
Yes.
Yes, but I don't.
But the first in Tajay Spears is not even.
Unfortunately, the first is worth so much more. The difference between the first and Spears is the biggest difference. I like Spears, but I
love Spears.
I want to say one thing though. I think people sometimes need to realize just because I think Derrick Henry is washed, and if you watched week 3, Derrick Henry is done, finished. With a running back, it's not gradual. It's not like a wide receiver who can fade away slowly. It can take a long time. With a running back, it's instant. When it's done, and it doesn't come back. when a running back is cooked, they're finished. Derrick Henry is finished. He's done. He looks so awful. Absolutely awful. He's not even playing half. I discussed this on my video yesterday. It's done very well. I want to thank Caleb for helping me with the SEO on that. It's really done very well. A 5 takeaways video from the previous week. And Derrick Henry was one of the things I talked about. And he is finished. Completely finished. With that being said, though, that doesn't mean, and this is a common thing that mistake people make, that doesn't mean that I think Tajay Spears is going to be the next amazing big thing, because I don't. I think that Derrick Henry is going to continue to play and suck for the rest of the year. And then I think that the Titans will replace Derrick Henry. His contract is up with someone else to play a Derrick Henry type role of some kind. I don't think Tajay Spears is even the next James Cook. I don't think so. I don't see that. So if people are getting a little carried away with Tajay Spears, he might be someone I'd consider actually putting on the block.
See, I'm a guy who likes Spears from the get-go, though. Like, I had him higher than Charbonnet coming out of the draft, and I'll tell you why.
I've had such a journey with Spears, but go ahead.
He has excelled in, I feel like he was a good fit in any system that he went in. And I think I mentioned this stat before, but he was the most balanced running back in the entire class, as far as he had a split of 112 zone carries and 117 gap design carries. So he had the best split of any running back in the class. He had incredible metrics on missed tackles, force per rush, and yards per route run. But when you threw on the tape, I felt like he had the best break tackle and explosiveness combination out of any back in the class that wasn't Bijan Robinson, including Jahmyr Gibbs. So I had a very high grade on him. I had a second round grade on Spears. I think he's better than people gave him credit for coming out of this class. I don't think he's in that elite tier of running backs, but I do think he has an opportunity. Like, I liked him better than James Cook coming out of college, actually. So I do think that if you're talking a first for Spears, I'm going to take the first, right? But I do think there's value, and I think we're starting to see that a little bit with what he's put on tape in both the preseason and that's trickled into the regular season.
The problem is that if James Cook were getting his workload on the Titans, he would suck. And that's if he's getting that
Most
workload.
running backs would, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Their line is so bad.
The workload's not good enough. James Cook does not get goal line carries. And the offense there is good, so he can overcome it. But if you get that workload, and that's the best case scenario, Tajay Spears is 190 pounds, is not getting goal line carries. Not in the NFL.
Do you think he gets it when Henry goes, though? Like, is this our last year of Henry?
No, I don't, because James Cook didn't get it when Singletary went. No.
I think they're different backs, though. I think he's got a different...
He's even smaller. Isn't he even smaller?
He is smaller.
It just doesn't work.
He also breaks tackles at a much higher rate than James Cook ever did.
Tell me, in the NFL, backs of that size, which ones don't regularly get goal line carries? They don't exist. They don't exist. NFL teams have moved away from giving one running back everything. They've gotten smarter. We have to acknowledge this. They've gotten smarter.
That's fair.
Look at the Eagles. They've gotten smarter. They have smaller backs. They invented this push play, this push, which is more effective than just handing it to a running back. It is more effective. They invented a new play. You see other teams, just because it's 4th and 1, multiple times this week, passing plays occurred. Passing plays, long passing plays. Because passing has a higher success rate than running in the NFL. We know this. Teams are getting a lot smarter. And what they will not do is give a tiny running back goal line carries. They've learned this lesson. There are other ways to get them involved. You see what the Chiefs do. They move around people, but that's just as likely to go to a wide receiver as it is a running back. That's the problem. The touch can go to anybody. It's not necessarily the domain of the running back. So that's why when it comes to Tajay Spears long term, if you're not going to get goal line carries, you have to get like a lot of receptions. And I I don't know. Is that going to happen? I mean, that's not. He's playing on passing downs, but doing nothing on those downs. Nothing at all. I mean,
that's fair. And when I give my
my
grading there, it's more on the real life football than the fantasy football. But we are here to talk fantasy, so I gotta separate the two.
I've learned this lesson. I've learned this lesson. It's been a harsh lesson to learn, and I still think I get it wrong a lot of the time. Like a lot of the time, I'm still like, oh, fantasy football. I do think I'm learning that there are just certain things that are not going to happen. And, it's tough. But also in Dynasty, there's a big difference. With someone like Kyle Pitts, I can say, okay, the situation for tight end, 22-year-old tight end is going to change. For a running back, Tennessee looks like a disaster.
They do.
For a running back, you can't say, oh, it's going to be fixed later. You don't have time for later.
We haven't even mentioned his knees.
And that's another problem. I agree with you. That's another problem. I don't think Tyjae Spears is going to have a 7-year NFL career.
But I agree with your points. He is heavier than James Cook, though. Tyjae Spears. 10 pounds. Not much. Just one.
But he doesn't look big.
200-pounder. Yeah. That's because he's elusive.
James Cook doesn't look very big either, right? No. I agree with your points. And I think you're correct in what you're saying. It is what it is. He's shorter.
To sum it up, there may be a sell window for Spears coming out of.
Just don't sell too low. That's my only thing that I'll say. Don't sell too low. Some of what you're seeing is for real, but
it's the kind of
thing. At this point, he's not going to be a top tier running back in fantasy, but don't sell too low.
I don't think you ever get a top 18 season out of him.
In Dynasty, it's so tough because running backs they're all overvalued. All of them. Pretty much every single one. It's hard. Look, if you had a team with Raheem Mostert, you're probably 3-0 right now. And that was like a throwaway
player. I started Raheem Mostert and still lost in a league.
Josh, just because you're bad.
I believe I did.
I must be.
I believe I did beat a Raheem Mostert team somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's just so tough. Running back landscape is so tough. I put it on the show sheet as an opening segment. After one good game, De'Von Achane I have as my Dynasty running back 14. But that sounds great, but I still have him below 27 wide receivers. Things have changed.
Yeah, unless you're that top tier guy, I'm with you. You go with the wide receivers.
But even that top tier guy, how many of those are there?
There's few and far between.
Really? What? Bijan Robinson has no concerns, essentially. And then everyone else has major concerns. Yep. Major concerns. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, it's good, but we're not seeing. Suddenly the receptions went away in the last game. We've seen inconsistent workloads throughout the 3 games. So I'm hoping it'll get better. But, he didn't hit the ground running maybe like I wanted. Breece Hall, the last 2 games have been awful. Absolutely awful. And then you get to Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor. It's almost like Jonathan Taylor has gained value by not being there. Because some of these other people have been so bad. Josh Jacobs is the big one.
Yeah.
Who has been putrid.
We just talked about Derrick Henry, right?
Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry has vanished from my Dynasty. I have him at Dynasty running back 29. He's vanishing from my relevance very quickly.
And then your 24-year-old DeAndre Swift, who finally someone's using him correctly.
Welcome.
What's up,
Caleb?
How's my show title?
It's good. Good.
I thought about it. I made a lot of changes.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Caleb is so much better. Caleb's so good at SEO. Clearly I've learned nothing in my 2 years of doing YouTube. Nothing at all. I don't think I've learned anything.
That's good. But you're improving. That's the thing.
You think I'm improving?
Oh, Yes.
I don't think I'm improving.
Full house.
I know this is the fullest house we've ever had. I don't think I'm improving. I appreciate that, but I think my graphic design is improving. I think my thumbnails are better, but SEO wise, I don't think I've learned anything.
I think the secret weapon, just put a picture of Hutch on each of your graphics, and I think you'll get like 100 extra views. Just the fantasy community loves the kid. He's the
the problem is I don't think I have a lot of viewers in the 17-year-old girl demographic, so probably not gonna help me.
That's not his only demographic. Come on.
We have an opening.
Sure, though, is not going to do me any good.
Come on.
Taylor Swift is a thing now, and is connected.
I mean, how much Taylor Swift fans
community.
we know?
We can open things up a little bit.
That's right.
I think if I put a picture of Taylor Swift, it would be more helpful.
Would be. Yeah.
What if you put Swift and Hutch?
A lot of
Now
other
we're
channels
talking.
do this thing about putting a picture of themselves on the video, and I've always been like really against that for some reason. Like I've just never liked that. I don't know why. I just don't like it. But maybe I should do it. I don't know. I'll put a picture of Hutch instead. I think it'll be much more interesting. People would rather see that than me. Or
Why?
Caleb. Because I don't pose well for camera shots.
Screenshot this right here. Use it. We got it. Let's go.
I didn't even comb my hair
Yeah.
today.
I will say
You look beautiful, Patrick.
one of my friends. What'd you say?
I just said Patrick looked beautiful. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
I will say I was like I won't post pictures, but I was like a model for 5.5 seconds.
Abercrombie.
pic-
Yeah.
What?
So I was right about the
friend of mine-
demographic.
A friend of mine got me in an outfit, and I did a little like model photo shoot. It wasn't bad. It was a reasonable. It was just a good looking outfit, and I was a model for 5.5 seconds. They've even put like someone edited the photo to make it look like a Vogue magazine cover. It was hilarious. So yeah, I was a model for 5.5 seconds. So
So
I
if you
love
super
that.
chat $5 right now, we will send.
no, I will not post it. There's no chance. No chance.
Come on, it's $5, Hutch. You gotta,
No,
For
I will not post it.
I love it.
$9.99
I love it.
plus shipping and handling.
I will not put. Not that I can't. I
If
just don't
someone
Two
sends a
pictures
super
of-
chat of $80 or more, what should I do?
What should you do to get the photo?
You don't want to know what I would do.
For $80. Yeah, pretty much anything.
Yeah. Let's see. If we can
You get the
you know what?
stream
You
canceled.
know what? Hold on, let's see this. If we can get a super chat. If we can get $50, I'll post the photo. If we can get a super chat of $50, I'll post
Like
it.
on your own Twitter, Hutch. Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying? Okay.
Okay.
Sounds like a good deal.
Patrick, can you get us back on track?
Oh, absolutely.
Please, Patrick.
If someone puts in that chat, I will do it.
So
I don't know if anyone
we
cares.
have
to see it, so
we still have a bunch of trades from Griff.
Okay.
We've got plenty of messages in the chat. Let's get back. Just
goodness.
skip ahead of in the chat.
Yeah, let's skip.
let's keep going.
because I don't want to see the trade that I think I got host on. But
Yeah, I purposely put that one in there.
I felt that he caused me to mess up lineups because we talked for an hour from 12 to 1, and then he pulled the offer at the end, going, "Oh wait, lineups locked. Oops." And then I was like, "Oh wait, it's 4:00 start time. I can actually do
I'm
this."
doing such a good job of playing fantasy football. You've seen me play fantasy football. I am.
It's a league I'm actively tanking in. I'm like, you stopped me from setting my other lineups just so I could try and get something extra
really?
draft capital.
I'm a tyrant.
Kid Coop asks, in a 12-team super flex, would you move off of Sam Howell for 2 seconds, or ask for a first instead, or wait to see how he pans out?
I'll take the 2 seconds.
Yeah, sorry,
Get out.
I would as well.
Sorry, Ryan. What do you? No, hold on.
I would not take the 2 seconds. I'd hold out for the first.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Hold out
I mean,
for
I
the
would
first.
try to go for a first.
Overreaction to one game. You can't find quarterbacks that easy in 12-team
I'd
super
like
flex.
to be on the cover of GQ, but
There's still people that will sell Jared Goff for a late first.
Right.
I'm not. I'd much rather have Jared Goff over Sam Howell.
well,
And if
yes.
those are my options,
No way.
go get Jared Goff
For this year.
for the next 3 years.
You have like an obsession with Sam Howell that I just don't understand.
Lee Trigg says, I'm happy with my 03 Vikings. Clank for Caleb.
Clank for
Wait.
Caleb.
Thank for Caleb.
I did see something really interesting.
Caleb is here.
I am.
He did show up, so thank you. You summoned him by clanking for him.
That's true.
I did see something.
Caleb is the best though. His videos are getting thousands of views. Where are my thousands of views?
They're coming. But hey,
No.
I'll be back next week if the Vikings go 0-4.
Oh, really?
You show up every week.
I have had one video ever go over 1,000 views. It was a short on Brian Robinson.
I had one video on Twitter go crazy, but I don't.
Oh, I've had plenty of those. I mean, on YouTube. Yeah. YouTube is brutal.
YouTube.
YouTube.
What the latest thing I've done with 4for4 football. I've been doing Thursday Night Football Hangouts live streams with them. The latest one got about like 650 something last time I checked.
Oh, I mean, I've had many over 1,000 when I was doing DLF videos,
Yeah.
but I mean, like independently, it's so hard.
It's hard.
I don't know how Caleb does it. I don't know. Well, actually, I do, but
magic hands.
I don't know if you noticed. We can admit this. I don't know if you noticed if you watched my Monday video. I watched a couple of your videos. I didn't copy it, but I kind of realized that like there's a certain way to open the video that goes better. So I kind of stole it.
You're allowed time.
It doesn't sound the same, but I used you as an inspiration.
As long as you just can't say my catchphrase. That's my phrase. So just don't steal that.
What is your catchphrase?
What's poppin', YouTube?
Oh, no, I would never say that.
I actually want to hear Tyler say, "What's poppin', YouTube?"
No, I would sound cringe if I said that. I don't think that would.
You can pull it off.
Really good coming from you, but I don't think it would sound good.
Come on, give it a take.
You can do it.
Yeah, let's go for it.
No.
with the megaphone, baby.
With the megaphone would be fine.
Yeah, with the megaphone.
All right, go ahead, Patrick. You're supposed to be keeping us on track.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want to talk over people, but also, Hutch, what are your thoughts on Zach Charbonnet after the last couple of weeks?
Zach Charbonnet is, I mean, obviously, I literally just tweeted about this today, actually. Zach Charbonnet hasn't been a really impact player for fantasy football so far, and it's actually been disappointing. Looking, I have him on a lot of teams, but looking at his touches, when you look at his snap percentages, it's only gone up over the last 3 weeks. He started with 3 touches, then he got 6 week 2. Then he had 11 opportunities in week 3, and his snap percentage jumped from 24 to 26 to 43. He's slowly getting more involved. So do not give up on Charbonnet. I wouldn't start him in fantasy until we see something like concrete, like, okay, this guy's a relevant fantasy piece, but I would not give up on him yet. I think there are going to be some people who drop Charbonnet this week. In your more casual leagues, in your more like casual redraft leagues, there'll be some people who drop him this week. Pick him up. Absolutely get him on your team. There's no reason to give up on it yet because he's only increased in terms of his opportunities and his snap percentages. So I'm actually excited for Charbonnet moving forward. For now, he's a stash.
Absolutely. I agree there. I think there's a lot there. Keeping things moving. I think we're all taking the Zach Wilson side here. Zach Wilson or mid-24 first.
Oh
give us how
is that a
Wilson.
Real offer?
It's a joke.
There's no way.
A second, a third, I'll take it.
Wilson should be fired out of a cannon.
Should be fired.
Out of a cannon, bro.
Gonna get a what's poppin' YouTube there. Come on.
you see, there's labor laws that prevent him from being fired from a cannon. This is America. Okay, it is America. It could happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Big Cannon on the phone and see what they think about that.
What is Big Cannon behind? Like, I'm like, there's Big Pharma, there's Big Auto. What's Big Cannon? Like, what's their thing? What do they do that's helping or hurting the American people?
Oh, they support the 1800s.
Yeah,
like a lot of people in our country.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nick asks, any JT updates? What should we be doing with Zack Moss and Dynasty? I think the Zack Moss
Ellen Dynasty.
Yes.
So I actually think that Zack Moss is the best running back I've seen this year. He's the best. He's getting so many carries and he looks really good.
He does look.
Actually, I'm really not kidding.
No,
He does look good. He does
like,
look good.
He's getting every single touch. And unlike Kyron Williams, he's not flopping on them.
Mm-hmm.
No, he looks good.
Yeah.
He
It's
genuinely does
insane
look good.
that this is where we are. JT's leverage is evaporating.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, Zach. I mean, as much as I want to make fun of Zack Moss and say, like, as much as I want to make fun of him, and because he's had a funny career so far, he does look good. I've gone back and watched him play. He's looked reasonably impressive.
It can't be the same person. It just can't be the same person.
Like,
there's
running back
no way, because he's the worst running back I've ever seen play, and now he's suddenly one of the best. I do not understand.
It's odd. It's extremely odd.
Very odd. There's only really two explanations. One, he started taking steroids, or two, Shane Steichen is like the best coach ever. Those are the two possible explanations.
Shane Steichen's also won the last 2 games with backup quarterback.
I don't know how he managed to do that.
And second, third string running.
But I always thought that Shane Steichen was an excellent coaching candidate.
Yeah, he's good.
Hey,
he's good.
Put some credit on Jeff Saturday's name.
For what?
Being a good center.
Showing up.
Higher
showing up on being Sundays. Named to a Pro Bowl team in the last year of his career that he didn't deserve? I have a long memory. If you haven't noticed, I remember these things.
Yeah.
Who was more deserving, Jeff Saturday or Tyler Huntley?
Oh, that was really bad.
That was nuts.
That was insane.
That didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it did.
Putting Tyler Huntley in the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, because the Pro Bowl's stupid. Of course it makes sense. You know, when I think it's been long enough that the NDA on this has expired. I once visited the NFL offices, and it was part of my grad school program. And they gave us a project to improve the Pro Bowl. Now, my suggestion was just to get rid of it. And, you know, I thought that maybe I was just lazy and didn't want to do the project work, but I think that was the best idea anyone had in the class. So maybe they should have listened to me like 5 years ago, but oh well.
All right. Quick question. If anyone can come up with just one name at a time, we'll go around the horn. Need running back help on a contending team? Who would you target with a 24-second?
Let's see.
Who's supposed to start?
Ryan, go ahead. You raise your hand.
Brian Robinson.
Okay.
Realistic for a 2024 second, right? Because I'm trying to think of realistic names here that are going to contribute, right? People aren't going to give many high-end backs or top 20 backs for a 2024 second. So I think that's a realistic name that you can probably get that based off game script's going to have some really big games if you're a contender. I don't know that I want to start him every week, but I think that's probably an appropriate guy for that comp.
Josh, you got a name?
I'm kind of put on the spot here. I guess maybe you're a contending team. It's going to be a late second. Alvin Kamara, he's coming back. He's definitely going to have a role. I think he's going to be the very worst, a top 20 running back, honestly, in a PPR league. He's going to, Alvin Kamara.
Biggest thing about Alvin Kamara right now is he's healthy.
Yeah. It's not like he's coming off an injury. He's coming back from being suspended, so he's ready to go.
Yeah, he's healthy.
Caleb, who you got?
Yeah, B-Rob was going to be mine, but I'll throw another one out there. Alexander Madison. He looks like absolute doggy poo, but we'll you need to get some depth. And Cam Akers.
Trade for this guy. The first thing I'm going to say about him.
And then but he's going to get the volume. I mean, I think Cam Akers.
I wouldn't give a third.
I don't think someone's going
Caleb, I think you might have misread the question. It didn't say 2024 fourth.
I'm sorry, Caleb. We're all talking.
I'm sorry. We're sorry, Caleb. Sorry.
I hate Cam Akers.
But that's the thing. I think the Cam Akers hype, like, it gives a little bit of a buy window. I don't love it for like if you're in redraft, you drafted him in the 5th round, Alexander Madison, that sucks for you. But in Dynasty, yeah, sure. Be my RB4.
I mean, there's no way anyone watching this show drafted Alexander Madison in the 5th. That's not
a lot of people did.
Not anyone watching this show. I would not have allowed it.
Yeah, no, we'd not.
I said it like 100 times. He's bad and he has opportunity. This happens every year. Someone who is bad gets opportunity because people are gone on the depth chart. Those players never work out. Never, ever, ever.
This show was the first one that I saw that actively was stay away from Alexander Madison. And for that first week, we were like, bye, Alexander
if you listen to some people, you would have drafted Cam Akers instead, and you would not have been saved. But
speaking of that,
if you listen to me, You wouldn't have drafted any running backs.
Hutch,
and then you'd be happy.
Who would you like to pick? Who would you like to trade for?
My trade target would actually be. I think I don't know how this is going to be by you guys. I'm not sure about it, but I actually think Joe Mixon is an interesting buy candidate this week. I mean, I think Joe Mixon is an interesting buy because there's just a stench around this Bengals offense right now. It's been terrible. Obviously, Joe Burrow's dealing with calf
injury. He's going
injury.
into the graveyard this week, though.
Yeah, against Tennessee, it's gonna be
bad.
Tennessee's gonna be bad. Maybe you want to wait a week. Maybe you want to wait a week before you buy.
You know what's insane about Tennessee? They're like horrible, but somehow so everyone has positive scripts against them, yet nobody can run on them.
No, they're so good. They're so good against
right, but they're horrible. Everyone always has a positive script against them, yet they still can't get anything done on the ground.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it
is really strange. But
do you think right now you could buy low on Ramondre Stevenson for a second?
No, I don't think
it had to be really early.
Joe Mixon, you can easily get for a second. He already has 12 targets on the season too. He's gotten really good work as a pass catcher.
I think Alvin Kamara is more out of sight, out of mind, and I think I'd rather what I have not seen, because what I've seen from Joe Mixon is.
But you would still give a late second as a contender.
He's been an RB2. Right? He's been a clear-cut RB2.
Joe Mixon has been absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. And the only reason he's not getting benched like Derrick Henry is because there's no Tajay Spears on the Bengals. But you do get to a point, and this happened with Todd Gurley in 2020, and has happened in other occasions, where a veteran high-paid running back is so horrible that they get benched even though there's no visible alternative. It does happen. So he's been so bad. I mean,
Mixon's going to be the starter the rest of the year. I truly
you say that until it's not. That's the problem. Like, it usually doesn't. It comes out of nowhere. It's happened many times to these aging veterans who are playing poorly.
I don't even remember exactly what happened there. But
what happened was he was just randomly benched.
But
Joe Mixon has looked awful. I mean, awful. Just like he's looked every other year. I mean, I can't remember when Joe Mixon looked good. It's not good. And this week
constantly a top 20 running back every year, you know? So like,
yes.
I mean,
he's going to be this year again. So
this year, right now he has 1 touchdown in 3 games. He has 60 rushing yards a game. I mean, 8 receptions in 3 games.
Running back this year. What do you mean?
Is that awesome? I mean, is that awesome? I mean, I'm not
saying it's awesome, but you're getting a pretty easy RB2. I mean, obviously he could get benched. That's definitely a possibility, but they've done this year after year with Joe Mixon. They don't bench him, and they're paying him a ton of money. I think he's going.
I don't think he gets benched. I'll support you there. I don't think he gets benched this year. I think it's his last year, but I don't think he gets benched this year. So I do think, like the names we're saying here, though, like a Mixon, a Kamara, a Brian Robinson, maybe like a David Montgomery. Those are your realistic guys you're going to get.
Montgomery.
Yeah,
Kamara is the good one.
Could you get away with Aaron
I'll
Jones,
add one more.
I said that one.
I was about to say Aaron Jones was my.
If you can get away,
I
with
would
it,
throw an extra third in to make it happen.
Are you getting those guys for 2024?
I'd rather have Kamara over Jones, though.
Really?
Yes.
I think you can get Kamara.
Kamara, I'd say do it, but can you get
Jones
Kamara?
Is hurt right now.
Jones is hurt right now. Yeah,
Jones is hurt right now, and this is we don't want 29-year-old running back who has a hamstring injury. Hamstring injury lingers the whole year. Like, I don't want to hear about it. It's trouble enough to have a hamstring injury when you're a 22-year-old running back. I don't want almost 29-year-old who has a hamstring injury. It's too risky. I agree with whoever said that Alvin Kamara is healthy right now. He's been suspended. He's healthy. He is not injured. So I like that.
I will say with the Aaron Jones thing, the Packers have Thursday night, so I do not expect him to play Thursday night.
He will play. He will 100% play.
They also have a extra 10-day gap because they go Thursday into Monday, then a bye. I expect him to be fully healthy coming out of the bye. They play 2 games in the next 24 days. They've got
well, I would hope he's fully healthy, but he's going to play on Thursday night.
And hopefully we have Christian Watson back soon as well.
Christian Watson, I'm less confident, but I would lean that he plays.
I'm saying by the end of that stretch. By that stretch
speaking,
I just described.
This will probably be the last time people hear from me directly before the Thursday night game. If Aaron Jones Aaron Jones plays, I'm playing him with full confidence. If Christian Watson plays, I'm still not playing him. I'll have him like wide receiver. I ranked him at wide receiver like 40. So in most leagues, like that's a sit.
Bad flex option.
In most leagues, that's a sit. But if you have no other options, he's 41. I have him 41 this week. So that's not ideal. Aaron Jones, I have ranked high. I have him at
he's a
running
stud.
back 10.
Yep. He's a stud running back. He's healthy.
Well, also a lot of the alternatives are like in horrible matchups, like Ramondre Stevenson, Dallas. Joe Mixon is in the Tennessee void. Derrick Henry is not playing. Alvin Kamara is the first game back. I'm not sure exactly what the workload is going to be. For those reasons, I have Aaron Jones at 10 this week, even coming off the hamstring injury. It's just running back is brutal.
Scribbles asks mid-24 first for Adams as a contender.
Oh man, I can't. I get it, but I can't.
I did that trade before this week with a 1-1 quarterback league. I was like, I'm 4-0. I think I've got the best team.
League. In one QB league.
In a 1 QB league, I might less.
Yeah.
You're risking less.
He's a baller.
But if you're a contender,
you got a year.
Should that be your own first? I wouldn't. I'd hope it's not mid.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a fair trade. Go for it. If that,
Tyler, quick answer on this one.
Edge.
What is
I want
Najee
nothing
worth?
with Najee Harris.
What's he worth?
I want nothing to do with
him. Nothing.
Okay. There's a reason no one said the second thing.
Yeah, nobody wants him.
I don't want anything with Najee Harris.
Would you rather have Alexander Madison or Najee Harris?
Najee Harris.
I'll take Najee.
He's draft capital.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tyler, just wanted to say thanks for your conviction.
Madison probably has looked better than Najee Harris this season.
Achane,
that's not saying that's not good.
Draft season.
I appreciate that.
Achane.
Yeah,
I find it funny. So, first and backstory: one of my good friends from work, someone I'm in Dynasty leagues with, came over on Sunday and we were talking about him, and he had drafted this player and then the first round of our rookie draft, and he was talking about De'Von Achane. Achane.
I've never heard that pronunciation.
I hadn't heard that. I was like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, I think my dad said
that. We've only talked about him that way. And I'm like, Achane? And I said it like a few more times throughout our conversation and just kept going back to Achane. And so we're watching Red Zone and see him score 4 touchdowns. So we kept talking about De'Von Achane over and over and over again, only for the report to come out Monday of how to actually pronounce his name and how everyone's been saying it wrong for the entire draft process through college as well.
Yeah, I was about to say it's going back further than that.
Yeah, it's going back all the way.
Yep. So just wanted to share that lovely story with you guys. And I will say I think I was wrong on De'Von Achane.
I was also questionable with him too.
Yeah.
So
I thought he was. I thought he was
going
to
be
potential special
but,
teams.
Yeah, I was well worried about being a special teams guy, but it doesn't seem that way.
So Nick asks, league mate wants to sell Trevor Lawrence. Are we still playing 2+ first in a 10-team league, or is that panic real?
Well, I don't think the panic is real. I mean, I heard people say ridiculous things all the time. I don't have much concern with Trevor Lawrence, to be honest with you.
Me neither.
He's a lot better than what the stat line showed last week. There was a lot of mishaps, a lot of drop balls. Just things did not go his way. I think Trevor Lawrence is still a top tier, especially super flex option. I think he's worth 2 first for sure.
Yeah, and he had a week where there were 3 1-foot in the end zone catches. 3.
I think if one of those went down and he had one more touchdown, people would be a little less concerned.
I'm not worried.
I'm not overly concerned.
I'm not worried.
There are quarterbacks I'm concerned with. He's not high on that list.
Yeah.
Full PPR, Pollard for Waddle or Pollard for Olave. I have Pollard. Both offers have been received.
Absolutely.
I'd rather have Olave.
Either one, but I'd rather have Olave as well.
I would agree. Yeah.
I don't dislike Waddle. Waddle might be a buy. Waddle is someone I think is going a way under the radar. I don't think. I mean, if apparently he's received both of these offers, I'd accept Olave. But in most leagues, I don't think you'll be able to do the Olave one. I do think in a lot of leagues you'd be able to do the Pollard for Waddle. Waddle missed this. He missed the explosion with a concussion, so people are a little upset about that. They're a little disappointed about his production in general. I mean, if we would like the receiver who's going to be in the offense with 70 points, who never throws to anyone else other than the top two receivers, you saw what happened when Waddle was out. Other receivers, despite scoring 70 points, didn't do much. Nothing from receivers or tight ends. It all went to the running backs. So when Waddle comes back, he'll be right back in that role.
Yeah. And I want to say something. Yeah, I would agree. Take both Waddle and Olave in these trades. But if you say both offers have been received, like you're receiving these offers, try to get more. Don't take an offer. Try to get more because you can always get more.
Okay, so there does
both of these.
If it doesn't work, then just go back.
No, okay, so there is kind of a point at which it's something I often say is like the enemy of good is better. Like if you can trade Pollard for Olave, I would. This is like such a big home run that I don't want to like start negotiating and then maybe the other person comes to their senses. This happens sometimes. Like you get greedy and then the other person comes to their senses. This is such a big win. I like to take, if I'm going to hit a triple, maybe I'm not going to hold out for a home run. When it's when it's closer, I will sometimes push for it, but this is such a big win. I mean, Chris Olave to me has looked like a budding superstar. Win. I cannot pass up.
Oh, no, I
can't risk. If I have a button that I can press, that I can turn Tony Pollard into Chris Olave and Dynasty, I'm pressing the button and not looking back.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think if you leave the trade up, like leave that trade up, just propose a new trade.
People see through that. People see through that. That used to. You're talking about something that maybe it's worked for you, but I don't know who you're playing against. When you play against good competition, that doesn't work. Like you're talking about.
I played a bunch of analysts.
So I've been playing for Dynasty for a while at this point, for about 5 years, and I will say. Some of these tricks do not work as well as they once did. The average Dynasty manager is smarter. So I have now gotten to a point at which when someone is making a huge mistake, I just let them make it and don't ask questions and don't negotiate. That's just how I see it. I think that's how you lock in the huge win while it's there. Because I used to see huge mistakes once a week in leagues. Now maybe there's 3 to 4 a year. The people are smarter. The huge whoppers don't occur as much. So if I'm going to be on the plus side of a huge whopper, I want to be a part of that because there just are not as many as there once were.
You're also sending that trade offer out. You're giving up control.
Exactly.
The offer's in your inbox.
That's fair.
You get to decide when that gets accepted or when it doesn't. The only thing they can do is pull.
Very few times. I mean, I think I don't know how many trades I make on incoming offers. It's very rare. Like, I think I get like rare. 1 or 2, like a season incoming offers that I accept. So usually if I ever see a good one, I just take it. It's so rare. Almost all of my trades, like 95% are outgoing offers. I send Patrick knows how many I send.
A lot.
Yeah, I send like 50 a week per league, so they're almost all outgoing. I usually don't negotiate.
Let's do this with a simple thumbs up, thumbs down, hold study. Buy, sell, or hold. Buy with thumbs up, sell with a thumbs down, or hold.
Strict hold for me.
Yeah,
hold feels perfect.
And the hold gets a square onto the next question.
Yeah.
Gotta thank Tyler for the LaPorta pickup before week 1.
Yeah, dude,
we were talking about that earlier.
That I did do a lot of. There were a lot of people who asked me about waiver wire pre-week 1, and I did recommend picking him up a lot in that spot. I love the week 1 matchup against the Chiefs.
So where do we go from here? do we buy high on LaPorta, or
too late.
If you missed,
I think it's too late. I think this is one of those. This was an opportunity you had. Week 1 was the time if you wanted to buy high. Now we're so high that I think it's
gone.
Because what are people going to ask for? They're going to want ones. No one's moving them for a 2, right?
Yeah, at least a 1. Yeah.
I want a mid first or better.
Yeah, I don't
think.
You
guys have ranked in Dynasty because he's my tight end 5 right now.
5.
That sounds
5. I think it's about right.
Yeah. I guess it's like the question comes down: do you like want him or like Pitts?
He's also performed better than anyone else.
I'll take Pitts
as a rookie.
I think some people
his numbers are better than Kelsey, even if you extrapolate Kelsey's for a third
think
game.
What people have some tiny bit of skepticism on is they want to see Jameson Williams come back and him maintain the same role.
Yeah,
but I'm not really worried about it.
And he's going to be like a Mark Andrews. That's going to be who he is, right? That's what you're looking at with LaPorta.
Yeah, targets are earned, man. When you earn a target share, it doesn't go away like that. It just doesn't go away just like that. It's not that easy. Especially with a player like Jameson Williams, who's like
at tight end, it sometimes does because tight end it's not like wide receiver. Tight end are where the extra targets often go.
That's true. Yeah.
Like Zach Ertz's 10 targets in week 1.
Yes.
Like a tight end that does occasionally happen. It depends on how good the tight end is, whether they stay or not. You do get situations where tight ends, Evan Ingram's 2017, get a lot of targets just because there's no one else. It's more likely to happen for a tight end than it is a wide receiver. I don't think that's the case here, though, because Amon-Ra is still there.
I mean, we're watching it right now with TJ Hawkinson. I mean, Jordan Addison's killing it. Josh Jefferson's killing it. And TJ Hawkinson's looking at plenty of targets, and he's being a very good piece for fantasy football.
But he's not as good as he was last year.
No, he's not. But
because Jordan Addison is there. It's making a difference.
His target numbers are still high.
Yeah.
He's also caused him to lose 2 games in a row, but we won't talk about that.
He has. Yeah, he's been
He's had some untimely big mistakes. Caleb asks, who are some players you would target to trade Mostert away for in a rebuild?
Players? I mean, if you're doing a Mostert trade, it's probably going to be to a contender and probably for a pick.
Yep.
So at this point, you should try to get a second, right? I mean,
yeah. You're not getting a first. There's no chance.
No, that's not going to happen.
But a second you can get.
Second and try to squeeze for a little extra juice.
But you got to trade him in a rebuild.
Yeah,
you have to. Yeah,
you gotta make it happen. And right now, it's the time.
Well, also on a tanking team, he's one of those players that could have caused you to win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's lessons to be learned that these wide receivers and running backs really hurt you, and missing that age window and that cliff can really destroy your chances of getting anything of value for them. Because in 2 games, Achane could take over the starting role, and Mostert's now worth nothing. Mostert's a 8-touch a game
One
guy.
Injury from Mostert.
Yep, and it's gone.
Have that happen.
Get that value, get that sure thing. That's what's going to rebuild your team, not holding on, hoping that he eventually turns into an early second or a late.
Yeah.
You're not going to hold out for more.
Yeah.
Get it where you can.
It's so tough. Like you see players like Mike Williams, Nick Chubb, J.K. Dobbins, like the value, J.K. Dobbins not even old, but like the value just evaporates in one moment when you're a little bit older.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rest of season, Amari Cooper or Calvin Ridley?
Huh.
Ridley.
That's actually a really good question.
I'll lean Calvin Ridley, but it's closer than it was.
It's extremely close.
If you take away week 1 for Calvin Ridley, it's very clearly Cooper.
Oh, yeah. But week 1 for Ridley was like his good
he followed up with a 2 for 8,
yeah.
And then a lot of drops.
Yeah, I think Ridley.
Leading Ridley, but it's close.
Yeah, it's close.
Damian Pierce.
Going into the
Breece
season,
Hall?
I was actually Amari Cooper over Calvin Ridley.
I was
interesting.
And I think I'm going to stay like that at this point. I think Amari Cooper is just going to be a little bit more consistent throughout the season. But they're super close. Super.
I just feel like Trevor Lawrence is more likely to
he has more upside.
Figure it out.
turn it around.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson's not turning it for him.
But I mean, Deshaun Watson has upside too. I would say.
I just feel like Deshaun Watson also is a little unlucky in that he plays in that division, which means 4 games against Baltimore and Cleveland, or not Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Steelers, Baltimore,
and also Cincinnati's not a good matchup either.
They're not a cakewalk. No.
This week is Baltimore. Baltimore is coming up, which is going to be a disaster.
Oh, they're going to be terrible.
Yeah, another disaster. So, and Trevor Lawrence faces
it's a much easier division.
Cakewalk. This week is Atlanta. They're not actually been as bad as they have been in the past.
They're still not.
But
great.
I'd still rather face Atlanta than Baltimore.
Yeah.
To answer this question, also one last thing about Cooper and Ridley. I think there's a universe in which Calvin Ridley wins you your fantasy league.
Yes.
I don't think that universe exists for Amari Cooper. And I will say one other thing about Amari Cooper. I think that Amari Cooper is getting very lucky and Elijah Moore is getting very unlucky. The target share is the same.
Yeah.
Target share is the exact
Moore
same. There's no difference. The targets are the same.
Cooper should have had an extra
another
30 yards
touchdown.
That's true. But in terms of the target share, it is the same, and Amari Cooper is significantly outproducing Elijah Moore.
But that's also his role.
Like Elijah Moore's going to be a closer to the line of scrimmage guy, regardless. I mean, Elijah Moore. Yeah, that's what I said, right?
And not all targets are equal. And I think
a lot of Elijah Moore's targets have gone way all over the place.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's been really interesting with Moore. It's really, really intriguing with Moore for that target share, but it just
Moore is someone I think could turn it around a little bit.
Could.
But
there's people in Jacksonville that are competing with Calvin Ridley if we're just talking about that question, at the same time, right? Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones.
I think Trevor Lawrence is going to fix it.
Yeah, much more confident than Lawrence.
Yeah.
So, rest of the season, Dameon Pierce or Breece Hall?
Hall. Dameon Pierce has been such a disappointment.
Yes, indeed.
He's
been brutal.
The workload has not existed. The offensive line has been horrible, which has not stopped CJ Stroud from being good, but it stopped them from being able to run. And this week we're going to be facing Pittsburgh. I don't like that one. That doesn't seem like it's going to be so good. I mean, Josh Jacobs didn't look good against Pittsburgh. So
both of these teams are have negative game scripts a lot, and I just believe Breece Hall is more.
I think the Jets are a lot more negative than the Texans.
I agree.
Texans are a significantly better team than the Jets.
They are.
Yeah, and that's actually I just think Breece Hall is a better pass catching running back and can contribute in those kinds of game scripts.
Yeah, Breece Hall's a better pass catcher. He can get there more.
Breece Hall
serviceable.
In week 3, they finally went to a majority Breece. It led to nothing. It led to no production at all. But they went to a majority Breece Hall in terms of snaps. Breece Hall was the snap leader for the first time. He had the most carries, did nothing with them. And he saw 2 targets. But he was the leader in snaps and the leader in opportunities.
Yeah, it's only going to get better.
Even though he was bad, I think that Dalvin Cook looks so cooked that I don't think we're going to move into more Dalvin. I mean, Dalvin Cook's been pacing with Michael Carter for touches. Dalvin Cook is
even if Breece Hall was gone. I'm not that confident in Dalvin Cook, to be honest.
No, Dalvin Cook in Dynasty, I've actually moved Dalvin Cook so low. Like I actually have both Ezekiel Elliott and Kareem Hunt ahead of Dalvin Cook. It's that bad. Ezekiel Elliott has been by far the best of the 3.
Kareem Hunt.
Ezekiel Elliott looks suddenly. I'm not saying he's looked great, but Ezekiel Elliott looks like he can still belongs on an NFL field.
Yes.
Kareem Hunt, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Dalvin Cook, I've seen enough in 3 weeks to tell you that Dalvin Cook's career is finished. Dalvin Cook's done.
Yep.
There's an interesting part to this question that I don't like. I don't like the hopes that they get a QB.
No,
so for a frame of reference, there have only ever been 3 quarterbacks who played for at least 2 teams in an NFL season and passed for a total of 2,000 yards. Bobby Lane in 1958, Kerry Collins in 1998, and Steve Walsh in 1990. It doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. As much as it makes sense,
what was it?
Three quarterbacks have played for two teams in one season.
Okay,
and thrown for at least 2,000 yards.
Okay, gotcha.
It doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. As dumb as it is for Robert Saleh and the Jets to say, all right, we're sticking with Zach Wilson. There's not an option. A team's not giving up a starting quarterback in the middle of the season. It's
it wouldn't be a starting quarterback. Someone.
I don't even know.
Percent, maybe. I doubt that, but I'm just like someone.
If you're still competing,
I don't even know.
The extra wild card spot makes it so teams are competing for even longer towards that playoff spot. That playoff berth is more alive than ever for a team that thinks they can get to potentially 8 and 9 because you can sneak in.
What team would? The problem is, by the time a team is ready to trade them a quarterback, it might be too late. Like if the Jets are 1-5, are they going to trade for a quarterback?
No, yeah, because I've seen rumors about Kirk Cousins because the Vikings have started 0-3, but I don't think they're going to.
I do think you get to a point at which you have to bench Zack Wilson for Trevor Siemian. I do think and I do not think we're very far away. I think I've circled it kind of on this.
That's who they want to go with. I just get a better option. It's just
sign Carson Wentz off the street or something. I've kind of circled it. We have
nobody else.
We have next is the Chiefs.
Oh, Flacco.
Oh, wonderful. The Chiefs are next.
Fun.
That one's going to be great. I think they're going to do so well in that one. Then after that, at the Broncos, they could win that one. That one they could win. And then after that, a game against the Eagles is next.
Jalen Carter.
So
he's been
so that one's not going to go well. So if they somehow lose all of those, then they have a bye week before playing the Giants. I think they would consider making a change if they lose all of those games. I think they consider making a change in that 2-week period because I just think it's the kind of thing where it's more of a PR thing at that, not trading for a quarterback, but just signing anybody and changing it. You have 2 weeks to change it. But I do think Zach Wilson is going to play the next 3 games, and 2 of the 3 are going to be horrible.
Yeah, they're going to give him a chance.
Maybe the Broncos be good.
They're going to give him a chance. They are. They're going to give him a chance.
I do feel like he's going to get the next 3 games, but like I said, if they're, is there any chance they're going to beat the Chiefs or the Eagles? I mean, any given Sunday, right?
Absolutely not.
I doubt it.
Keeping things moving. Quick thoughts on Jaylen Warren.
He looks fine.
Yeah, it's just like Najee's not going to go away. Najee's not going to disappear. They put too much draft capital in him. They invest too much in him. He's had obviously it's been a weird career, but he's had too many good games to be able to just say, all right, you're just done. It's not he's Dalvin Cook where he's a veteran, he's completely cooked. Najee's not just going to go away. And even if Jaylen Warren does take over for this offense, what is there to do here? It's a terrible offense, horrific offensive line.
Yeah, I think the problem with the Steelers is more that nobody could run behind that offensive line.
Nobody.
I'm
sorry. There's no world where Jaylen Warren's better than Najee Harris. I'll just come out and say it. I get that he's a faster back again and looks a little bit more electric than Najee Harris. That's not who Najee Harris is. Najee Harris is a very patient, very durable.
Who has more fantasy points?
I get the fantasy side of it for sure, but
who has more yards?
In real life with the Pittsburgh Steelers, there is no world I can see where Jaylen Warren actually takes over for Najee Harris. And I might be totally wrong on that, but I don't see any world where he actually takes over.
He has more yards.
I'm with Ryan. There's no way
he has more yards. And
I don't see Najee just disappearing. I could see Warren leading that backfield eventually.
No, Warren. I don't even see Warren leading it. I'll be honest. I think in a real life football team, Mike Tomlin is not pulling Najee Harris, especially with that offensive line for Jaylen Warren. You got to look at the opportunities too. How many stack boxes is Harris playing versus Warren playing, and compare some of those statistics.
No, the problem is not that Najee Harris is performing worse on the ground. The problem is that he's getting pulled off on every single passing play.
Down passing
for
play.
both blocking and receiving. He's just not there. And if you're not there, you can't produce in the passing game. You have to be there. But he's getting pulled off the field. So sometimes...
Well, I don't think Ryan's point was that Najee Harris is going to be awesome this year. It's just that Jaylen Warren you can't really rely on, right? I don't want to speak for you.
No, you're spot on. I think Jaylen Warren, what we see at a Jaylen Warren right now is what I think we're going to continue to see at a Jaylen Warren go forward. I don't think he's taken the early down work from Najee. I hear what you're saying. From a fantasy perspective, there is some appeal to Jaylen Warren playing the passing downs. I just don't think in real life that Najee Harris is coming off the field in early downs or, losing all his goal line work to Jaylen Warren or anything. I don't see a world where like Jaylen Warren becomes the full-time back workhorse for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's a full committee, though. It's a full committee.
It is.
In the PPR game that we play, I have this week, I have Najee Harris at RB 28, and I have Jaylen Warren at RB 30. So no difference.
Fair. I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm just saying I don't think like the Warren ceiling is all that high. That's all.
No, it is if Najee Harris were to get hurt.
Yeah, if he got hurt.
I agree with that.
Yep. I'll give you that. I agree too.
I will say this. I think that if Najee Harris gets hurt, Jaylen Warren would be better than Najee Harris would be if Jaylen Warren got hurt. I'd rather have Jaylen Warren having everything. No. Najee Harris has been totally ineffective. He's been totally ineffective.
But he would get those catches.
Would he? That's really the question. That's really the question because Jaylen Warren has been more effective in the passing game than Najee Harris has ever been. So would Najee Harris get those catches? Would he? Or would they just not throw to him? That's really the deciding factor of who would be more efficient with the full workload. Would the receptions continue to come for Najee Harris, or would they, as I believe them, not come?
Honestly, Tyler, I couldn't agree more. Like, Jaylen Warren is more electric and more effective with the football in his hands, and he's looked better as a pass catcher than Najee ever has. I couldn't agree with you more. Jaylen Warren I just couldn't agree with you more, Tyler. Jaylen Warren would be better.
Najee Harris is 74 reception, guys. We're treating him like he can't catch the ball, right?
He was not effective.
He is. I'm sorry, I get passionate about Najee Harris.
He was not effective on those 74 receptions. He was not effective.
Najee Harris is a very talented back playing behind a very bad offensive line. And Jaylen Warren looks better because of the situations that he plays in on the football field compared to Najee Harris. So if you put Jaylen Warren as an early back, Jaylen Warren's going to look like crap. I'm sorry. He's not
Jaylen Warren does not look better between the tackles. He doesn't look better this year either. The problem is when you get out in the flat where you can't blame the offensive line. You can't blame the offensive line for everything. You can't blame the offensive line for...
It's not who Najee Harris is, right? That's not how he ever won. So I think
that's what I'm saying is that
two different skill sets of
but that's exactly what I'm saying, though. That's exactly what I'm saying. This 74 receptions was done out of necessity. He was terrible, absolutely terrible on those looks, other than not dropping it. That he did well. He was good at that. But he was not good Najee Harris is not good at operating in space. Not good as a receiver. He doesn't add anything out in the flat because he doesn't get there. He never gets out there. If you look at what he does, he doesn't get out there. He doesn't operate well there. Jaylen Warren is better in that role. And we see the difference is in fantasy football, we play a PPR game and those receptions are not coming back. If you noticed in 2022, they were taken away when Ben Roethlisberger went away. The receptions went away, but now this year, Najee Harris has no receptions, and they're throwing to Jaylen Warren because that's actually a useful part of their offense.
If you break it up and you said if Najee Harris played all the snaps and got the receiving work, I've seen that happen. We've seen RB3 out of Jaylen Warren, out of Najee Harris. There is no realm of possibility ever that Jaylen Warren becomes an RB3 on a full workload. That's all I'm saying. Najee Harris has the potential to do that. Jaylen Warren's never going to do that. That's my opinion.
I think Jaylen Warren's better than Kyren Williams.
I agree with that.
He's playing every snap. So, and Zack Moss. I'd hesitate to say that it's not possible.
I'll say this real quick. To your point,
you can do a lot on 100% snap share. I'll just say that. almost any running back can do a lot on 100% snap share.
Yeah.
I would just think that Jaylen Warren could do more than Najee Harris if I had to pick between the two.
Yeah, I want to go to the point about facing stacked boxes more. I was trying to do some Google searches. I couldn't find anything about exactly stacked boxes, so I looked for the next best thing, which is yards before contact, because that would be a fair metric to use, right? Yards before contact. They're tied right now in yards before contact per run. And still Jaylen Warren's being more effective in terms of yards per carry, more effective getting more yards, and still being the more effective fantasy back. It's not that they're attacking Najee quicker. Jaylen Warren's just playing better.
The Steelers' offensive line is horrible.
It's bad. They're both at 1.9.
Horrible. It's so bad. I mean, it's really an embarrassment.
Happening. Like, those stats are misleading. You can't watch the games, watch Najee Harris. And I'm not saying you're not, Hutch. I'm just saying Najee Harris is still a very talented back who people, from a talent perspective, underestimate a little bit because he had a bad foot injury last year. And now he has a bad offensive line this year. I agree. He's not good for fantasy this year. But I just think he's a more talented back than Jaylen Warren. That's all I'm saying.
No Trent Richardson for me. No Trent Richardson.
He looks slow.
He looks slow.
I'm not gonna lie.
He looks overweight, and he looks. He does. He looks slow. He looks big, and he looks overweight. And I don't want any more Trent Richardsons. I just don't. I'm sorry. I just don't.
All right.
I'm good.
I get passionate about Najee Harris. I love Najee Harris. So
do I. Look, Najee Harris seems like a very nice person. He never did anything to me personally, but he looks overweight.
At a softball game, Devontae Smith is hosting a charity.
Wait, really?
Game. I got a picture with Najee. Yeah.
I feel like I remember you getting the picture with Smith. I feel like I don't remember the picture.
Oh, I got a picture with Smith.
Dude, I remember the Smith picture because your legs were bigger than Devontae Smith.
Well, I had a Micah Parsons.
Oh, that's true. That is why I remember the Smith picture, because you're bigger than
my favorite picture in the world.
I remember
2
that.
years ago, your legs were bigger,
aren't you?
My legs were bigger than his. Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah,
Devonta Smith is literally the same size as me.
Like, you know what this reminds me of?
Literally,
speaking of the Steelers, it reminds me of that picture of Calvin Austin and Darnell Washington, and like these two players both play the same sport.
It's awesome. I love that picture.
Right next to each other in the huddle.
Washington's a beast.
Well, he's not very good at fantasy, but he's a good blocker.
No. He's a human being.
All right.
Devonta Smith's like 6'1", 170?
Yeah, something like that. 6'1".
We derailed there.
I'm like 5
way
too long. 150.
Way too long talking about someone.
Yeah, Patrick, you're supposed to keep us on track.
Sorry.
He was trying. You tried.
Short of leaving the stream to get your guys' attention.
All right. Use the
We have a running back room mid-off with John's roster. We have Derrick Henry, who's falling off. James Cook, who does get goal line work. De'Von Achane, who is starting to break out. Achane.
Zach
Charbonnet is the pronunciation I never would have thought.
Zach Charbonnet, who's not breaking out yet.
Talented.
Jerome Ford, who's forced into work. And Gus Edwards. Do you trade off a few of them to avoid making the wrong start sit, or just kind of hold on?
No. We don't trade people because we're worried. This is something that I hear people say. It's like, well, I don't want to make a decision, so I'm going to trade away some of my players.
Having said
this is like the most. No, having said nothing, this is the most.
Said that. Do you want these? Like, I would try to combine
these and try to upgrade. Personally, not because
next week you could have 3 more injuries. There could be 3 injuries next week. You don't know. I mean, there's been so many running backs are going to get hurt. This is like a life of fantasy football. They will. There will be like 3 running back injuries every week. You need to have running back depth. That is like critical in Dynasty, especially because there's no waiver wire. You know, I assume this is Dynasty. There's no waiver wire. You cannot just running back. They don't exist. So I don't have a problem keeping depth. I don't see why this is.
You think these running backs are going to get him by? You just talked about Henry and how he's done. Yeah, James Cook is James Cook, and he's fine.
He's saying exactly. This is not even good enough as it is. So he's saying he should trade them away.
Well, that's what
more
I'm saying.
God. We need to have all of them to have as many options as we possibly can. Trade more of them away to reduce the running backs. It's already not good enough as it is. So the answer is no.
Yeah, don't trade.
John's question.
So another question
a better
about
idea for John would be to acquire more running backs. You need more.
Find the person who thought
that
like
would be
you
better.
That question.
Honestly,
I would acquire his running backs.
I mean, I wouldn't mind looking into trading away. I mean, because Derrick Henry, I don't know what kind of league you're in. If you're like,
there's no trading away Derrick Henry. You should have done that before the season, like I told you. I recorded a video that said you should do that, but everyone laughed at me. Everyone said Derrick Henry is immortal. He is not human. Oh, he will be elite for another year. Oh, well, everything is wonderful.
Tyler,
they ignore the fact that he was not good anymore at times and looked slower last year. It's like I'm tired.
Tyler's voices are A+ today. A+.
I'm so glad you went South Carolina this last weekend. I can tell you really enjoyed your stay in South Carolina because you've mastered the accent of the people of South Carolina.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. But are we trading away JT in redraft? If
no, if you held him this long,
why did you hold JT?
You could have traded him. Yeah, no, he's about to come back. Why would you trade him now?
Well, you could trade him away if people are hyped up about him.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't.
In redraft, I don't think people are.
No, I don't think.
And I would need like equivalent of like top 5 pick, like where he was being drafted before the holdout.
I mean, there have been so many running back issues.
The problem is like the window of getting him early is kind of gone, right? Like you've waited through the sitting JT piece. So like now you just use him. Like the time to trade him would have been when you could have been getting a useful asset to be helping you in the early weeks and trying to value that. But I'm holding JT. The running back, the position's just such a mess this year that
when he comes back, Zack Moss will remain the starter. That's what I heard. People were telling me that.
Please.
No.
Well, you're the one that said earlier in the show, Tyler, he's the best running back in the NFL so far this year.
I did say that. It's true.
He's looking
I forgot about Raheem Mostert. He's been even better.
Mostert.
We got more running back questions. I feel like
I like this one.
It feels like the topic of the day is running backs and tight ends. We're staying away from those wide receivers. Is Travis Etienne
I'm surprised we haven't gotten any Justin Fields questions since I put him on the cover, covered in ice.
Yeah,
that's next.
Oh, it is?
That is next.
Good.
So if you want to get through this one quickly,
it's
Etienne or Ridley?
Etienne.
Yeah,
agreed.
Etienne.
Justin Fields dynasty value check.
Tank Bixby was going to take his job. That's what I thought. That's my best impression of the
Mouse Clubhouse while you're waiting for people to respond to trades.
I'm telling you, man, these voices are A+ today. They are very amazing.
I should be a sketch performer. I could be all the characters.
Totally.
Justin Fields sucks. No, Justin Fields dynasty value check for me. He's a runner that doesn't throw well, and I just don't think it's ever going to change. So you're going to have weeks where he's going to put up good running points. I don't think he's going to be a long-term stud. I would try to, if I have him, he's a guy I try to move if I can get value for him. Not a guy that I'm targeting, and you can't.
He's going to have a big
for him
week,
at this point.
Exactly. He's going to have a big week. We know that. It's going to happen.
Right.
So maybe if you want to trade him, you wait for that week to happen because with this rushing upside, it's going to happen.
I don't think there's
What's he worth to you guys
is
right
the
now?
Side even there right now?
He hasn't.
Let's see what happens against Denver.
Well, I have a question. Where do you guys have him ranked in Dynasty right now?
15.
Correct, 15.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Below Sam Howell.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm actually kidding. But kind of.
I'm nervous Justin Fields could end up not having a job in 2024.
I think it's
a very realistic possibility
that
needs to be baked into that cost right now.
It is.
But especially with he's not even performing those at top 10 in fantasy points, let alone have that job security. So
I feel bad.
Just wait till the new running back and the new quarterback class comes in too. He's even going to drop further in your dynasty rankings.
Justin Fields, but it sucks. Like it sucks, but I feel like he was kind of done dirty.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Wait
Chicago.
until
Welcome to the Bears.
At least after Denver. And if he doesn't have a good
You
game,
know,
then
you know what I think
how much
people
more
learn
can
from
drop?
Justin Fields? I think people learned a really good lesson. I think people learned that Ohio State quarterbacks can't throw. And therefore, they didn't want to draft C.J. Stroud in their rookie drafts. Ooh, big mistake.
He's looked good.
I know.
He's the
Big
best
mistake.
quarterback that's come through that school. So
Big
Were you being
mistake.
sarcastic?
Yeah.
Okay. That was hard to pick up on for me. I don't know.
Don't scout the
Yeah.
helmet, man. Don't scout the helmet. Scout the.
I will say, Justin.
How many
Fields is
times
big-
I heard that this offseason? I'm like, because one Ohio State quarterback couldn't pass, that means another one multiple years later isn't going to be able to pass?
I will say my biggest concern with Ohio State quarterbacks is due to the strength of their offensive line and the time they have to throw, it leads to waiting for bigger windows to be open.
But people
They're
talk
harder
about this
evaluation.
narrative from 20 years ago.
That aren't there in the NFL, which Justin Fields definitely waits for. Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace, waited for windows to open that never opened in the NFL because
that's not C.J. Stroud, though.
Exactly, and that's exactly.
But
that.
also, people are
CJ
talking
Stroud
about
wasn't
Ohio
that.
State quarterbacks who failed 30 years ago as a part of. Who cares about a 30 years ago?
When the
30 years ago,
gonna
Nebraska
show-
was a power school.
in the 5th round. Anyone
Just going
remember
to
Troy
show that real quick right there. That was my number one prospect in the entire draft.
But
I've
Anthony
been a
Richardson
Stroud
is still
guy
the number
for
one
forever.
for fantasy.
for fantasy?
In
Yeah.
fantasy. That's a real life
Fantasy,
draft
Anthony
board.
Richardson's number one.
He's actually
I mean,
watching him play. He actually hasn't looked that bad as a passer.
Richardson? He's looked
looked
better than I
better.
thought he would.
He looked
No,
better,
Richardson's
much
looked
better than
great.
I thought he would.
Yeah.
Much better. Like, he's looked actually decently impressive. Honestly, I've been impressed.
No, he has impressed me.
Scribbles
Not as much as Stroud, but he's impressed.
No. Stroud.
I'm with you, Scribbles.
Stroud
But
has
for
been beyond.
fantasy,
Does
AJ
anyone
Dillon
think AJ Dillon is good?
fantasy,
Not anymore.
No,
Richardson
AJ Dillon's
looked
not
up.
good.
Packers Nation wants him cut. So.
I never thought he was good.
And no one's gonna believe.
But his
that,
quads are so big.
I was so out.
Quadzilla?
He does well in the snow, but damn, he's
Oh man,
terrible.
he had that one big game.
the snow game.
Yeah,
All
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Oh, that's me. I say
Trading makes fantasy fun. Toronto
Yeah, it
David, it does.
I thought I made that up.
Yeah, I will fight you, Tyler. I will literally. Let's throw down. I'll take off my shirt. Let's.
Uh-oh.
No.
Oh,
Swamp Johnny says back. To
I guess he can be had for a second. There you
South
go.
America
Yeah.
for a second.
That
Good
one-
answer then.
yeah, that's good.
All right, trade question: Burks, Stevenson, Kelsey, in London, or CD, Mark Andrews, DJ Moore, and Gibson.
So many to
Yeah,
think.
too much to break down.
Too much
redraft.
thinking.
So
Redraft.
Kelsey
Yeah.
and Andrews
CD's
kinda
the best
cancel
player
each
in
other.
the
no,
whole
it's
trade.
redraft.
Kelsey's the best
Redraft.
player.
It's close.
It's redraft.
Or
Oh,
Lamb.
Kelsey and
Kelsey
redraft too.
Kelsey,
Yeah.
CD,
I
about
don't
the
care for any
same.
of the wide receivers on the left side. DJ
Yeah,
Moore's not
essentially,
performing,
London
Gibson's
and
not-
Moore are Gibson and Burks are both cuts. So
I
It's
like the
just
CD side better, to be
Andrews
honest
and
with you.
Lamb or Kelsey. Yeah, I'll take Andrews and Lamb.
Yeah, it's close, but yeah, Anderson.
Is Breece Hall worth a second? 2024 second.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Easily. Yeah.
Yes.
He's not that bad. Like,
No,
don't forget, he's coming off the ACL. We expected a year that wasn't going to be as good as prior to
but
the injury.
also, I think we saw that he was good in week one. I think the problem is that the Zack Wilson situation has really come into effect against these. I mean, the Buffalo defense is good, which we saw this week, but it's not compared to the Dallas and the Patriots defenses. Those are much better. Although the Dallas defense was interestingly didn't do so
Losing
well
Trevon Diggs
against.
is probably tough.
Yeah, that
You
might
lose
have been
Diggs.
why
Diggs probably made an
Arizona.
impact.
Arizona
That's a
was
big
much
piece.
more effective.
Arizona.
I mean,
looks-
Arizona's been effective against kind of everybody so far.
they've actually hasn't been.
They haven't been as bad as I thought they would be.
No. Yeah, they
Brees
haven't.
and JSN for me by a good amount here.
Yeah, easily. Gibbs and Brees are not that far off.
Oh, what? Yeah, it's
Yeah, this
Brees
makes no
and
sense.
JSN. I love Gibbs, but it's Brees and JSN.
What? Why is my? Oh, it's in there twice. Okay. That
Yeah,
makes
we like
sense.
Hall better than the second
Yeah.
by a lot.
You need-
Oh.
I'm healthy Christian Watson myself.
had an offer receipt I was happy to take, but tried to push the pick. I was giving back a year, and he put it all together.
Yep, this is why we take really good offers when they come in.
10-team Superflex start 10 have Allen, Tua, Kirk, Goff, gave Stroud, got Kelsey and Etienne.
So he has Allen, Tua, Kirk, and Goff.
Ooh, okay. I mean, he's loaded at quarterback, so even though he gave up Stroud,
It's 10-team.
But the value
10 team, that's not
safe
for 10 team. I like that. I like that for 10 team.
It's fine.
I'll take it in a 10 team.
I do think Stroud is on the elite pathway.
Yes, he really is. He's on that.
I think that if you ask me this question at the end of the year, you're going to significantly regret it. But if you win,
he might be a first round dynasty.
If you win, then it was worth it.
Yeah.
Lots of future assets for this one.
We have certain buy lows in Dynasty like Garrett Wilson, Drake London, maybe Waddle, and JSN. How do we acquire those types of players when the manager who owns them is 0-3 and still overvalues them?
Oh, you don't.
You don't. Yeah,
it's not the manager you're trying to acquire them from. You're trying to the manager you're trying to acquire them from is the one who's 3-0 and is stuck. Not Waddle, but is stuck with because Waddle's still going to be good, but is stuck with like let's say you're 3-0 and happen to have Garrett Wilson on your team. You might like let's say you wanted to acquire Garrett Wilson. Could you send like AJ Brown for Garrett Wilson and a first? You know, in Dynasty, are AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson that far apart? Probably not. Could you get it? So believe me, by the way, I'm a manager who's 0-3 and has Garrett Wilson, London, and JSN. That's part of why I'm 0-3.
Yeah.
Or I don't have Garrett Wilson. No, it's even worse. I have London, JSN, Christian Watson.
Ooh.
Zero from those three. They've done, I have London, JSN, and Christian Watson. And on top of that, I also have Jahan Dotson and T. Higgins. Woo!
Oh my God!
Breece Hall. And Jahmyr Gibbs. And
that
Trevor
looked like
Lawrence.
a great team going into the season too.
Wasn't
That's
it? It
crazy.
also had Jonathan Taylor on it. I think that's one of the best teams on paper that has gone up in like the biggest in flames. Like I've never seen the only. I had De'Von Achane. Wow. Unfortunately, he was sitting on the bench. So I wouldn't have won, by the way. I wouldn't have won. Even with it was that bad. I wouldn't have won, even with him in the lineup.
Jesus.
Yeah. Not good.
No,
not good. It's terrible. I don't know, but everything somehow went all wrong. Oh well.
Yep.
So it's tough. It's tough to buy them low because you have to buy them from a team that's winning despite them.
Yes.
You buy these players from 3-0 teams. You buy players like Davante Adams from 0-3 teams.
Yep.
Luckily on that 0-3 team, I don't have a single player on my team above the age of 26. So
because if you're 0-3, those are guys you can wait till their situations get better next year.
Also, I almost rage Jahan Dotson because I'm so tired of him. It's pissing me off.
It's been so infuriating with Jahan.
Bad. I decided to punish him and start sit this week. I've moved him down. He's moving. He's being punished. He's sitting at wide receiver 50.
Oh.
Punishing him.
It's funny though. He was drafted like before all the hype went around him for a little bit. Like late in August, he was going in like the 40s at wide receiver.
I know.
Like he wasn't going far off from that wide receiver 50 mark. He wasn't going that far off.
It's been
unbelievable.
There's a lot of players that would be on a Twitter orphan team. Someone who bought all the Twitter hype for the offseason.
You know,
it's Jahan Dotson. It's Garrett Wilson. It's Drake London.
I managed to have like 7 of those players on one team. It's really inconvenient.
And as long as it's not doesn't turn into an orphan team, and you keep that little baby to yourself.
I have my 2024 first. I didn't think I'd be tanking, but I might be tanking. It's fine. It's a team where I have 5 2025 firsts or something. So
Swamp Johnny asks, we got a 12-team half-point PPR.
That's a good one.
I've got a productive struggle that's okay at QB and weaker at running back. Lamar Jackson owner is looking to sell and wants my Jonathan Taylor plus. What kind of plus, if any, can I add
to get Lamar Jackson?
I'd add a second.
If you're okay at quarterback and worse at running back, I wouldn't trade away your top running back.
I'd like to know what okay at quarterback means,
in
to
a
be honest
productive
with you.
struggle, I'd much rather have Lamar Jackson than JT.
That's
So, like,
Get it done. I definitely add a second.
I would add a second to get it done. I mean, if I'm in a productive struggle, if I had like another older player who's productive right now, like Jonathan Taylor, and like probably don't have Keenan Allen, but like, yeah, I could do that, but I'd rather go even less, like something like, you know, maybe with
Jimmy Garoppolo,
Amari Cooper, someone like that range of value.
Yeah, that's fair.
The Broncos and Bears are each one away from the Jets to be in consideration for Caleb, and someone has to win. Yeah,
I do think though that the Jets roster is significantly better overall than the Broncos and Bears.
Oh yeah.
So I don't get why they're waiting on the quarterback so long. Like, make a move. Your roster's good. Make a move. It just
is no move. There just is no move.
Jacoby Brissett from us.
They can't. They're not going to be able to get Jacoby Brissett.
Their draft capital is locked up due to the Aaron Rodgers trade.
Yeah, it's just difficult, and I don't think they can. It's a shame, and they should have just kept Mike White as the backup, and then they're not having this problem. But they didn't, and now they're paying for it. But I don't really think there's anything they can do that can make this team competitive, unfortunately.
They're stuck.
Heineke?
So it looks like another question in that same league from Swamp Johnny. Got offered his Lamar Jackson, Josh Jacobs, and a 26th first. I'd be sending Russell Wilson, Jonathan Taylor, and a mid-24 first.
I'll just keep Lamar.
Yeah.
So Lamar side.
You go to Lamar side.
Yeah.
You get Lamar in this trade.
Oh, then I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take this trade as well.
Lamar's the only thing I really want.
And the fact that you get to get Russell Wilson off for value.
You want the mid first.
Oh. Ryan got his fifis hurt about South Carolina accent. Oh no. He probably stopped watching the show.
That's okay.
Oh darn.
I don't think we're gonna miss him.
I'm so sorry.
They do have good barbecue though.
Ryan, fuck you.
Oh!
Oh my god.
Okay.
Raheel C says, would you sell Kyler for Christian Kirk in a 24 first? The 24 first owners.
He's 0-3.
0-3.
Then if he's 0-3, I'm doing it.
In a 10-team Superflex league. I have Carr, Max, Stafford, Zach Wilson. You have
Kyler, I do think is going to come in and be fine. I actually think Kyler is going to play this year because they're not looking quite as bad.
Yeah,
Kyler's still alive.
It
can be a really early first.
The really early first is what makes me think. Plus, he's got, or this person has Mahomes, Carr.
Christian Kirk doesn't do much for me, so
no.
It's a 10-team league.
I'd make this trade. I'd make this trade.
Like if
I think I would, but it's not like a home run.
I'd make this trade.
So I saw.
You could argue there's a debate to be made that the top 3 players in next year's draft will all be as valuable, if not possibly more valuable than Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
The math behind a team that's 0-3 making the playoffs.
We saw this. Yeah,
it's bad. Take that top 4 guaranteed pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Christian Kirk in 24 first side.
And then you gain a spot in your IR too. In the process. Why do people panic on rookies so fast? They don't break out in 3 games and you're a bust now?
I agree.
Yeah,
have we called anyone a bust?
Rookies too fast. Yeah, it's nice to see at least something though. When you see nothing, it's just like, ugh, it's not fun.
I would say that I expect running backs to be ready pretty much immediately. I think, De'Von Achane is rare. I mean, usually when players are healthy scratches in their first game, those players end up being disasters. I mean, that's your Ronald Jones, your Trey Sermon, your Joe Williams. I mean, the Tyrion Davis-Price. The list is mostly busts. So is usually right, but sometimes it's very wrong.
Imagine trading week 3 in 2020. Justin Jefferson gets talked poorly about. Is he number wide or 3? Then he goes 2 for 26, 3 for 44. No. I'm not saying running backs. I'm saying about like why panic on rookies so fast. Like Justin Jefferson didn't look like a star the first 2 games of his rookie season and then busted out for 175 and a touchdown. So
I will say that De'Von Achane is the exception. Usually when day 2 running backs don't compete for a role week 1, it's usually a very bad sign. I don't care if the role's small. You can be Zach Charbonnet. That's okay. You get on the roster, you play a little bit. I'm not going to complain about that. But almost always when you're a healthy scratch week 1, look at the list. I mean, the list is bad. It's Keyshawn Vaughn is on that list too. I mean, it's a list of just busts. De'Von Achane is one of the only success stories. So
it's been 1 game.
Right, but he's already had more success than every player I listed combined. So
is that a season's worth of
yes, he's already been more successful than that whole list to put together. So I think people are going to learn the wrong lesson and have too much patience with running backs next year.
Yes.
As for wide receivers and tight ends, I have patience. I will say one thing though. If you're a first-round wide receiver and you have the role available to you, I'm not interested in an excuse. I'm not interested in an excuse. With JSN, I understand that while it's not what I would want, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are unfortunately better than JSN week 1. They are.
They just are.
He's playing the best role that's available to him. Quentin Johnston was already a big problem.
Johnson's someone I'm starting to.
It was a big problem.
The 7 targets to Josh Palmer.
Well, there were so many problems. He didn't play above 30% of snaps in a game where Mike Williams exited early and Justin Herbert threw for over 400 yards. He had a measly 2 receptions on 3 targets for 10 yards.
Tweeted this today. I just tweeted the same thing today.
I did it in the video yesterday. You can click on the video and you can take a look at that. But if he doesn't deliver, there will be no excuse. Mike Williams is gone. He's going to play the Mike Williams role because they have no choice. If he doesn't deliver, I can't see what the excuse is going to be. What is the excuse? There's no excuse. So he now must deliver. So there's pressure being put on him immediately.
Yeah,
You see it. Most of the time, good players deliver quickly. I mean, Tank Dell found a way to deliver, even when the odds were against him. He wasn't ahead of the depth chart, but he found a way to climb it and delivered because he was good, apparently.
Scribbles asks, have we ever retracted an offer because the person was playing with you?
Yep.
Every other day.
I have. I don't.
I've done it.
I think people wouldn't really dare.
Not with you. Not with you, Tyler.
No, I'm so petty and so obnoxious that people usually just give me what I want.
So you would do that? Is that really what you do?
No, I just feel like I wouldn't need to. People don't play with me.
I can remember one specific incidents where I have done this, just with one guy in my league where I just know him kind of well, and he tries to get every little piece he can. I'm just like, no, I'm just done. I don't want to do this anymore. I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this trade anymore. I didn't really want to do it. You kept pushing it. I was ready to do it, and now you're trying to do this extra crap. I'm just done. I'm out. I digress.
Josh didn't have a happy ending there.
No, I didn't.
Maybe if you had traded for Deshaun Watson, you could have gotten one.
Ooh.
What, Patrick? What are you doing?
Who are you and what have you done with Patrick?
I've been talked over enough today, and I'm gonna get my points out.
I love it.
I didn't know for sure. I didn't know for sure I was gonna be here tonight.
I never talk over anyone.
It's your show.
As you talked over him.
They talked over him right there.
I'm an elite troll. We know.
So would you sell Kyron now in Dynasty and what for? Ryan, I feel like we haven't heard from you in a little bit. How are you feeling about Kyron Williams?
Give me a second. I don't know. I'm not a Kyron believer, so these are the types of guys I love to sell in Dynasty if I have the ability to move them and I have the depth at a position, and this is the kind of guy that I move.
I love that pun there.
I would tend to agree. Yeah. Sorry, Patrick,
he's not it. He's not good. He's getting the opportunity share, but he's not actually good.
Right.
Yeah, he's looked okay. I would sell him as well. I've seen him go for a first in a Dynasty league.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you run for that one.
I mean, how many running backs in Dynasty are even worth a first?
Well, if I'm competing, I'm not trading him for a late second. I'm gonna just put it out.
You
there.
can just keep him. That is always an option.
Yeah, I'd rather keep him in that scenario.
Points matter.
If I'm competing.
All points matter.
That's just how I would play it.
Should get that tattooed on my body. All points matter.
You should just get a picture of me tattooed on your body.
At this
This
point.
is in reference to the Lamar and Jonathan Taylor trade before.
Oh, we're moving on.
Yeah. Dillon says, "What's up, boys? Got an intriguing trade. Traded Deshaun Watson and Kelsey for Lawrence and Keenan Allen. I've got LaPorta in their place, so felt better about that. I'm assuming
this is a very fair trade. It's a fair trade.
You can't replace Kelsey.
That's the thing. But
let's got
LaPorta's out producing him.
Oh man.
It's 3 weeks. I'm not. I love LaPorta, and I don't think he's going to outpace him.
Cam Akers was the RB1 in the last 5 weeks of last year. So
yep.
Keenan Allen is going to be. I mean, I have him at wide receiver 3 this week and starts it.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, no, he's looking.
There's no choice.
And now with Mike Williams hurt,
but I'd still rather have Travis Kelsey between him and Keenan Allen.
Oh yeah, I would. Too.
Oh
I'd rather have Trevor Lawrence,
sure, yeah.
over Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
I think
so
it's
very interesting. Yeah,
the gap between Lawrence and Watson's bigger than the gap between Kelsey and Allen to me.
But in one QB, it barely matters. In one QB, it barely matters.
Is it a 1 QB? Is it confirmed 1 QB?
It's got to be.
It's a redraft league.
Most redraft.
So.
Is 1 QB.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's a redraft. Okay.
If you start
it's a redraft league. I thought this was a Dynasty.
A lot more cool with this.
Does anyone know if this is a redraft league?
Best person in this trade, though.
Yeah. Okay. Redraft. Okay.
Wait, is this best ball?
I thought this was a Dynasty trade. Okay. Redraft makes it the Kelsey side then for me.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's so.
Fantasy football has been so much fun this year.
I want to. What's that?
Has anyone else felt that way? I felt that fantasy football has been more fun this year.
I thought you were being sarcastic when you
first said
that, but I kind of I've been having fun. I've been
I think it's been more fun this year.
I love fantasy. I love football.
It's a fun game.
I do think just generally the mood has been a little better. There hasn't been like something like really clouding over things in a bad way. Kind of like in 2022, the Deshaun Watson situation took up so much oxygen in like a very negative way.
Yeah.
And then in 2020 and 2021,
COVID
sucked. Both of those
football
seasons
sucked.
It sucked.
I remember watching football games and no one in the stands.
Can we COVID flex the Broncos Bears like Wednesday?
You know what? You know what I'm really excited for?
Set it up for when like
this Sunday, October 1st on NBC at 8:20 p.m. You can catch the Jets versus the Chiefs.
Oh my God, Lamar and CMC for me in this one. Right? Puka, it's not even in the same tier as any. Cooper Kupp's going to come back at some point. Give me Lamar and CMC.
I'll take. Oh man!
If I can get Josh Allen though.
If I could get Josh Allen, it's closer than it should be.
Yeah, it is.
Closer than it should. Yeah.
It's really just playing.
I think I'll take Josh Allen.
If you're competing, I think I lean CMC side.
Yeah, I still like the Lamar and CMC side better.
I will say this about Lamar. I haven't moved him in my dynasty ranks.
He is nerve-wracking.
But it's not that he's nerve-wracking, but I think we have to accept a change in Lamar. I think we have to accept that 2019 was a mirage. I think we have to accept we're not going back there. If we were going to go back there by now, we would have. We are not going back there. This new... Remember when I said the new offense is going to look like the old one because Lamar Jackson is not going to become a 4,500-yard passer because it's just not him. Everyone's like, no, Todd Monken is going to change it. They're going to air the ball out. I'm not seeing that. I mean,
the offense is much different than it's been.
Different.
Yeah, I was hoping for like 30.
Different. Yes, it is different, but it is not making Lamar back into 2019 Lamar. It's not. Well, that was a mirage.
Yeah.
Lamar is more of a mid QB1 with rushing upside who's going to have big games from time to time, who's inconsistent.
Yeah, no, I agree with
That's what he is. Doesn't mean they can't win some games, but the difference between the Todd Monken offense and the Greg Roman offense is not actually changing Lamar's fantasy value all that much. Is it? Oh my God! I just read that in the private chat very wrong.
Yeah. No, I was just typing out something. I was like,
I'll tell the people. I just read the word throbbing, and I had a very different thought in my mind.
This. I got a jacked up foot. I got a bad injury.
Okay, that makes so much more sense. I was like,
you jacked off your foot?
I mean, some people enjoy that. I mean, it's some people are into that, Patrick. We can't yuck anyone's yum on here.
I mean, I'm just gonna go down.
This show supports whatever you want to do.
Micah Parsons.
This bad boy needs to go to South Carolina.
Well, we don't have Rex Ryan. We could talk about Rex Ryan's foot fetish on here. I'm sure that's fair game. Who?
Micah Parsons.
Oh,
I did not know this.
Micah Parsons did that on air once, like 2 years ago.
Oh well, now we know. That's I really wanted to know that.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to be as famous as Rex Ryan's foot fetish.
No, that was unreal. That
one is going to be the OG for sure.
That was one of the most absurd moments in football history. Is that
in the butt
video?
Fumble, yeah.
Yep.
So Mystical has some things to say that he just wants to get off his chest. He had a manager offer him a mid-24 second for Jimmy Garoppolo at noon on Sunday, then pulled it back, claiming he didn't want to pressure me into a deal I wasn't sure on. I then sent him the same offer back. He told me he'll consider it, whatever that means. The exact same trade he had just sent me. He then sent me Zeke in a 24 second for Achane after his big game. What the fuck?
He changed.
Wait, do we get demonetized for one fuck? Or is it? Oh, shoot, I said it twice.
What?
Oh, you...
We're
officially rated R.
Well, I'll turn down the 60 cents in monetization that this video makes. It's all good.
I thought it was one. You get one, and you stay at PG-13.
Nobody. That's movies, Patrick.
Yeah,
that's movies.
This is real life. This is NFL Fantasy Football Week 3.
That's not how. No.
Busts and
on
breakouts.
YouTube. You gotta like really. They care most about the beginning and the end, especially the beginning.
So if we ended the stream right now, like we might be in trouble. But if we keep going for another
well, we won't be in trouble. We just won't get the 2 cents of monetization that this video gets.
Can I give you my 2 cents instead?
Sure.
We would love that.
All right. My 2 cents is we should go to the next question by blind.
I agree.
10-team redraft, start 8. Burrow, DK, or Richardson, Addison, Ramondre. Hutch, what are your thoughts on this one getting started?
Man. I think honestly I'd take the Anthony Richardson side, to be kind of honest. I mean, for fantasy football, Joe Burrow is
I want you to lie.
What's that?
Lie to us, Hutch.
Whenever people are like, oh, to be honest, I'm like, no, I want you to lie.
I think this.
You're saying it. That's like one of the dumbest things people say. Right? Like
I just want to say
I'm gonna take the Anthony Richardson side with confidence. Burrow is just someone for fantasy with that leg injury that is just so.
I don't think it's going away.
It is a redraft.
Trustworthy. For redraft,
you got to note it's a redraft.
For redraft,
in a redraft, it makes it pretty easy to take the other side.
Yeah. Easily, because
it's not close.
Richard's been a great fantasy. He's been healthy.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as he's been healthy, Richardson is a great fantasy asset. He's looked good as a passer. He's an elite rusher. And Burrow
in a redraft, Richardson and Burrow are not
true.
that different. And I'd probably lean
You could argue
Ramondre
AR
over
better.
DK. They're very close. So the extra player, we go with the Addison.
You could argue that AR is better in a
Ramondre, but
redraft.
Lean.
You could argue
Very
it.
similar.
Yeah.
You could argue it.
I'd argue it.
Debatable. With his calf injury, you
DK
just
and
have to move.
Ramondre is also arguable, though.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think that's arguable.
Yeah. And Addison just is a cherry on top.
I like Addison.
Throwing
I like
I want
Addison.
Addison over
Addison's
DK.
growing.
Adams sits over the top a little bit, I guess.
I like this
I want
one.
Addison to
So
get DK rest of the season.
you're in a
Ramondre
rebuild
more
and you
than
have
top.
CD Lamb. You want CJ Stroud. What are you adding to Stroud to give away your CD Lamb?
What do I need?
Yep, you're wanting to go to
Hmm.
Stroud.
If I'm rebuilding, I mean, second would be ideal. You're not going to get a first. I think a second is the most you can hope for.
I'd rather have
First
Lamb.
would
I
be
feel like.
Stroud.
I mean, unless you're in
Oh, I don't
rebuild.
think I would. I
I
think
does say rebuild. I missed the rebuild. I apologize. I
Well, I
take
don't
that
think-
back.
I think I'd rather have Stroud in a second over
Rebuild.
Lamb in any format, any
Lamb's
rebuild.
good in a rebuild too.
Yeah, Lamb's going to rebuild too.
I'd rather
so, yeah.
have Stroud in a rebuild, probably straight up in a rebuild if I had to choose.
But
Really?
Yeah.
Lamb's like proven stud. You know,
At
I'd rather have
24, I
Lamb-
forget he's
The thing
24.
is that the thing with Lamb is unless your name is Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase as a wide receiver, you're acquirable. Whereas if you become an elite quarterback, you're not acquirable. There's no getting them. You can't. They're just unavailable. So
Yeah,
if
but
you think
Lamb's
someone's
the next
on
name
that,
I'm going to name in the wide.
well, if you
receiver
think
list.
someone's on that trajectory, though, you want to get them as they're on the way up because once they get there, it's too late.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I do think CJ Stroud is headed in that direction. Very few quarterbacks who come out this fast, this good, end up busting. Think about it. Like, who's in that group? That's your, I don't want to invoke his name, but that's your Deshaun Watson. Like, just immediately in and lighting the world on fire instantly. That's your Patrick Mahomes. Like those, and he even had to sit a year to do it. Those players who come in and are good almost instantly, they almost never fail. To Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and he wasn't even as this good off the bat. So
Baker
someone like that, I want to get them before the elite value is locked in.
Who said Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield was
I think
not
Pat said something like that.
was not this good for fantasy. That's something we learned. Baker Mayfield won games, but I think we've moved past that. I think we've moved to look not at how many games someone is winning, but how good they are for fantasy and also for real life. In that Baker Mayfield, I think in year 2 there were some won games, and people counted that a little bit too much.
Baker Mayfield had a good rookie year, but it wasn't quite.
Yeah,
as
he had a fine rookie year, but it was definitely, it's weird that his rookie year was his best year ever.
Yeah.
Scribble says, "Thanks, guys. We are great. I agree. I think Tyler, Hutch, and myself are fantastic. Josh is pretty good too.
I'm below average.
Old Nudie.
Boy.
After week 1, I traded CMC, Damian Pierce for 223 for. I'm going to assume 224 first. LaPorta, Swift, Dell, Chubb.
It might be 23. Oh, after week 1. No.
Wait. You traded Christian McCaffrey and Damian Pierce for that entire package?
And that was, I assume, before Chubb got hurt.
That was before Chubb got hurt.
After week 1.
Yeah, well, in that case, you did really well. The Chubb getting hurt thing, you couldn't have foreseen that. It's still such a great deal, but that, it goes from being 2 home runs and 1 at bat to just 1. Because also Swift and Dell had gained a lot of value since week 1.
Exactly.
This is pure robbery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This was a robbery no matter how you slice it.
Yeah.
Superflex.
We did this one already.
No, it's different.
No, it's
No,
different.
it is different.
Oh, it's different.
It is
It is
different.
different.
It's a
It was
simpler
Burrow and
this
DK.
time.
Now it's CD Lamb. instead of DK Metcalf. Which
Bijan,
now it's Bijan for that. It's Richardson at Bijan.
Oh no, with Bijan. No. This is even worse. This is
not even close. Yeah, no, it makes
the other side.
Yeah. Bijan over CeeDee Lamb.
I have Lamb, Samuel, Hollywood, and Pickens. Should I pick up Tank Dell? Non-PPR.
To me, Tank Dell is at the level that he is a must-add. I added him last week in Scott Fishbowl, and I put him in, and he was the difference between winning and losing. If I hadn't added him, I spent 26 fab on Scott Fishbowl. I got him by a few dollars. If I had started who I had before, Rashid Shaheed, I would have lost. So it was the difference between winning and losing, and I think he's going to have this role the whole rest of the year. So Tank Dell is a must-add, and pretty much no matter the format, you have room for him. He's a top 40 wide receiver rest of season, which is a must roster in any format. As for who would go here, I would rather have Dell over Hollywood rest of season, especially in a non-PPR. Not seeing many touchdowns in Hollywood's future.
If Kyler's back week 5, which I doubt he is, then I'll disagree with that.
Still rather Dell. I'd still rather have Dell. I've seen a lot from Dell.
If I knew Kyler was back week 5.
Yeah. I still would rather have Dell, but even so, I still think you have to add him. I don't know who else you can drop or who else you have.
Definitely still add Tank Dell.
But just given Dell's value, I think he's a must roster.
Just more ability to trade. Yeah, you should definitely add him.
I'm very proud though, and Scott Fishbowl, despite being the one who drafted Jonathan Taylor and T. Higgins and Jalen Waddle, who were all sitting out, and Christian Watson and Bryce Young, those were and Greg Dulcich, those were my first 9 picks. Despite all of that, I managed to put up 260 points last week because Zack Moss, Kenneth Walker, Davante Adams, Tank Dell, and Sam LaPorta, none of whom I drafted as starters, kind of carried me across the line. Plus 20 points from Jake Moody helps.
So I'll say this. We are into overtime right now. We are in past the 2-hour mark.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love that.
Get your questions in if you have them. I'm looking at timestamps. If we have the questions in before 9:40, we will answer.
Yeah, that's a good.
And then if not, if it's a really good question and we're going off the air, we might answer it.
Yeah, we might.
Maybe.
In a PPR redraft, do I trade Olave for Brian Robinson? And
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Why would you even consider trading Olave? He's been so good.
No chance.
What do we do with Pitts and Dynasty?
You gotta hold him, right?
Burn him. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
he's a hold.
You have to hold him. You're stuck.
You're stuck. I agree with that.
Stuck. You're kind of just stuck because selling him is just not going to do no good.
I mean,
nobody wants
we talked about this earlier. He's younger than Dalton Kincaid.
He is, yeah.
Like in
got time.
3 years, he'll be the same age as TJ Hawkinson is now. Like
got time.
He's 5.5 years younger than Dallas Goedert and over 5 years younger than Mark Andrews. Like, yeah, I get it. Like the situation looks bleak, but he's not going to be, people act like he's going to be stuck on Atlanta forever. Like, it's not going to happen. This is not going to be.
They could the situation changed. They're not.
Yeah, the situation 5 years ago, Atlanta had Matt Ryan as their quarterback and was considered a prime destination for receivers.
It was his rookie year.
Real question that needs to be asked though is, what if Kyle Pitts was a generational talent coming out and hasn't developed since coming to the NFL level?
I don't agree. I
know. I'm just asking the questions. What if his development has been stunted so much by the Falcons that he doesn't develop into
I will say this about Kyle Pitts. I do think that the absolute ceiling levels of outcomes are not going to be what we see because I haven't seen as much progression. I still see 2021 Kyle Pitts still there. I haven't seen steps forward or big moves forward. I think there have been some issues. Guys, but I actually think this player's still there.
Guys, would you it's unbelievable. He still leads all tight ends in air yards right now this year.
I didn't know that.
That doesn't surprise me.
He leads all tight ends in air yards.
Yeah, he wasn't bad last week. People are just mad because he didn't score. If he'd scored, people would have been more in on him.
Did you guys see that? How'd you brought that up? And
averaging a 19.8% target share.
Okay. Yes.
That's where
did you see the meme that came out of this? Someone tweeted all of these stats, Hutch, and then they followed it up with the guy on the podium cheering for himself with the gold medal in his hand, but he was actually 28th in fantasy points total out of all tight ends.
I did not see this meme. No.
The problem
hit a couple thousand likes.
The problem is that, like, he's catching like less than half his targets in the last 2 years.
And does
I
target
really
share matter?
don't think that's his fault.
Because the
target share
matter
when the target number is so low?
Okay, 17 targets through 3 games is not horrible for a tight end. The problem is that those targets are so bad.
Yeah, that too.
It's more the quality of targets actually than the number.
Oh, you said 17 targets, right? So far?
Yeah.
So would you say
he's 10 that were catchable. He caught 9 of them.
So would you say that target share matters less when you need to talk about actual raw targets for him?
I think my issue is more with the quality of targets than anything with the share or the number.
Okay.
And that's more likely to change.
And when that comes out to 3.3,
they need to get a new quarterback or
game,
it needs to be traded.
I think that if they were playing Taylor Heineke with the same targets, he'd be good.
Yep.
He'd be. Absolutely. I don't think he'd be top 5, but I think he'd be between 5 and 10 in this offense. Man. I think it's Desmond Ridder is just so bad that there's no. Desmond Ridder is another Zack Wilson. The only reason we're not hearing it.
Better.
He can run.
Right, but as a passer, I don't think he's actually better at all.
That's fair.
I think the only thing that's better is that he can run and that Bijan Robinson exists. Like Breece Hall is not Bijan Rob. Even a healthy Breece Hall is not Bijan Robinson. I mean, we saw what Bijan Robinson did on that route. I've never seen it. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like. I've never seen anything like that. Yeah, the juke where he juked. I've never seen a running back. No running back ever do that. Ever. I've never seen that before. And that was like game 1.
Yeah, but
I've never seen that. So
in the next few weeks, Bijan will be the
Jets don't have anything like that. But that's why I'm saying I think it's making Ridder look a little bit better because also the Falcons have a really good roster. It's something people don't talk about because no one talked about the Falcons because they had Desmond Ridder. They were never going to be good. Whereas we talked about the Jets because I do think if the Jets had Aaron Rodgers, they would be good. Yeah. But we talked about them. We didn't talk about the Falcons because they didn't have a quarterback.
I talked about this all offseason. Like I always told you, I don't know if the Falcons are going to get out of Desmond Ridder because their team is so good around him.
They're going to get out of Desmond Ridder because there's nothing invested in him. Yeah, I think they've already seen enough.
They might not be in the position for draft capital, and the free agent class sucks. And trading for a quarterback is just
really Kirk Cousins is absolutely available. Because the free agent class does not suck.
He's the one.
He would fix all of the problems.
Yes, he would. Sorry,
Kirk Cousins would fix this problem immediately.
Available though,
but otherwise not. Really.
He's a free agent after this year. He's totally available.
Okay. I think
absolutely. Yeah, a free agent. He's totally available.
By the way, don't cut pits for any of these guys.
Not in no. These are Donald Parham is such a mirage. Like he had 2 targets and caught them both for touchdowns. He had 4 yards. Like Donald Parham is Kylan Granson is playing like a 4 tight end rotation. Chigakonkwo, I will say, not really in redraft, but I do because the tight ends are so bad. The role's there and he looks good.
He's a good player.
Offense is just so awful.
Beast, man.
Ryan Tannehill airmailed 2 separate wide open touchdowns to Chigakonkwo. If he'd caught either one of those, we'd be having a different conversation. So he's someone in Dynasty I haven't given up on. Because remember, like with Kyle Pitts, tight ends take time. Sometimes the offense isn't there, or tight ends have a long career path. The route success rate is there. The numbers are there. It's just not coming together because nothing's working for the tight ends at all.
This question might need some help in deciphering. Trevor Lawrence and 2-2 for Breece.
It's redraft. Dynasty.
I don't know. Are you trying to tell me what position they're playing on your team. I'm so confused.
I think.
Is it
they-
Breece
I'm
and
lost
Anthony
here.
Is it super
rewrite it.
redraft?
Yeah, I'm confused. There's too many things we don't know. We need to know.
One quarterback league. Yes, I'll do that trade.
Yeah, of course.
Puka for Breece and redraft.
I got a Breece. Oh, redraft. Breece.
I'll take. I'd rather have Puka now, and I'll just take Puka now.
I would
Puka
take
now.
Puka now. Yeah, it's just like Breece Hall. It's a disaster of an offense.
I think if I knew that Cooper Kupp were coming back and was going to be 100% for sure, that I'd rather have Breece, but I don't think we know that.
Not known at all.
This next week, starting LaPorta or Evan Ingram?
LaPorta.
LaPorta,
baby.
I have LaPorta this week at let's see. I have him at tight end 5.
Yeah, he's tight end 5 on the year right now in PPR.
And if both Ayuk and Debo play, then I'll have him at 4.
For Stroud and Dynasty, how far off is an offer of Daniel Jones and Kyren? Way off.
In the wrong universe.
It's pretty off.
Very far.
Try it.
Yeah.
Try it, but it won't work.
Yeah.
Stroud easily.
Absolutely.
9:38 Eastern time, 2 minutes ago. On Sunday, after Watson was announced out, tried to take advantage of frustrations on an offer, sent Burks in a 20 in a second, not my own, for Watson. Thoughts?
I have the same opinion about Treylon Burks as I do with Chigakonkwo, except even more extreme. I am confident that Treylon Burks is good. Very, very sure that he is a good wide receiver.
Number one receiver coming out of that class.
I wouldn't go that far. Garrett Wilson was my one, and I think that was the right decision.
Oh, that is the right call.
But,
Yeah,
that was the right decision. I never thought Burks was the one, but I do like him. I am confident from what I saw in the rookie year that he's good. So now Christian Watson has his own issues. I think this was fair. I mean, I'd lean Burks because I think it's possible that neither Burks nor Watson is good. And then you had the second. Mm-hmm. So I'd probably just lean Burks in the second, given that Watson has done nothing.
This was done after Burks only scored 1.5 points.
Yeah, Treylon Burks is kind of stuck in that dynasty range of I have him in the same range as Jahan Dotson, kind of right next to each other. I have Burks at wide receiver 29 and Dotson at 30. I'm I know these players are good. They're both 23. We have enough time to wait a year or two on them. We're not at the age concern. So I'm I'm going to stick to the fact that these players have first round draft capital. I know they're good. I'm pretty sure. I said they were good in the talent eval. They look good in the NFL, but the fantasy stats aren't coming. I don't like to give up on talented wide receivers who look fine, because wide receivers are not running backs. Wide receivers can fail. You see Garrett Wilson has been taken off planet Earth, and I don't think anyone would tell you Garrett Wilson is bad, but he's been taken off planet Earth by a quarterback change. And I think especially for Treylon Burks, nothing is happening in that offense. Nothing. Everything is a dumpster fire. So it's how good do you expect him to be? I like to stick to the talent on those first round wide receivers, especially if they're getting the playing time and looking good on the field, even if fantasy stats are not there. But in redraft, you can't just force them out there. You have to bench them, especially Burks. There's no way to play Treylon Burks.
All right. I think this is our last question. Superflex, I got offered Young for Kyler straight up. I'm going to rebuild.
Ooh. So really the question is, have I seen enough from Bryce Young to move him back down? And I think I have. I think I enough bad, that is. And I think I would. I think I'd rather have Kyler. I think I've seen enough from Bryce Young that I don't like. Not enough to move him off the map. I'd rather have Bryce Young than Justin Fields, because Bryce Young is going to get 2 or 3 more chances, whereas Justin Fields is not.
Close.
But I'm going to have to take Kyler because I've seen Kyler be good, and I've never seen Bryce Young be good. And
I have them.
Some of the concerns are valid.
Spots apart in Dynasty.
This is one of those where you get this offer. It's not. You don't need to smash accept it. You can negotiate to get more on your side.
Bryce Young is a trade target for me, but Kyler's also good in a rebuild because he's not scoring you anything. He hasn't scored anything. He's going to continue to not score anything, I think, for a few more weeks. So
Young probably will too, though.
Yeah. The thing is, like, before the season started, I had Young ahead of Kyler because Young was healthy and Kyler was far away from coming back, and Young hadn't played badly in the NFL yet. But we've had some data points like against Young, and I haven't moved him down that far, but it's enough to switch the difference there.
Yep.
All right. Is that it?
Yeah, but I did want to read this one. It's not really a question, but I just wanted to thank you for this comment.
He wants to highlight that last part.
Yeah, that's actually not. I didn't even see that last part when I brought it up, but I just wanted to thank you and everyone else who left comments. I think this has been the most comments we've had in the chat in a while.
Yeah, we didn't really get to the show doc today at all.
No, and that's always a good thing. That's always what I would prefer. So I do appreciate everyone who had comments in the chat.
Do we want to get to Braden? He put a little more clarification.
Yeah. So in a redraft, if it's one QB, I'll take Breece Hall easily.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you put it in. I was like, I didn't write that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Great. So if you like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/fantasy advice. Check out every Monday afternoon. I'm going to be dropping a 5 takeaways video from the previous week. It'll kind of be the very short version of this show. But it's just quick. So there's a lot of stuff I wasn't ready with. So if you like it, make sure to tune in for the elaboration, the 2-hour, 15-minute elaboration of the short video. Kind of like that little duality that we do on the channel. And then later in the week, we'll have Ask Tyler. Questions from the patrons. If you sign up for the Patreon, you can ask questions and I will answer them on the YouTube. And I also did a little bonus Patreon question answering at the end of the 5 takeaways video. I did it as a bonus segment at the end, answering all the patrons' questions because that is always my priority. And they've been great to me. They've had so many questions so far this season that I almost couldn't get to them all. So I just thank everyone in the Patreon Discord who is asking questions. I think I covered everything. You guys have anything you want to plug?
I would say check me out on the 4-4 Football YouTube channel. I started a Thursday Night Football hangout with them every week, so I'll be live 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern Thursday nights. So I'm running that the last few weeks. It's only gotten bigger and bigger, and
I love that.
Make sure you go and check that out. Yeah,
everyone should check that out on YouTube.
It's fun. Yeah, it's on their YouTube channel.
And make sure to get your comments in.
Yeah, I answer questions all night, so you come in and ask questions.
That. I watched like a little bit of it after, not during, but I watched a little bit of the replay. And also make sure to check out Caleb's work. He was on here earlier.
Yeah, Caleb.
On YouTube.
Great.
And on Twitter. And he did the SEO for this video and at least helped me with that. And I think it was better. So I appreciate Caleb for helping keep the channel going.
Shout out Caleb.
But until next time, I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
Hulu.